Boom, boom. And yes, now we should be live. We still got the music playing. I'm gonna kill that. Everybody, thank you for checking out my first players tier list. And with me to do this, I have Rebel Pilot and Fame with me down below. Pillars of the community. Guys, thank you so much both for being Rebel. Thank you for being here, buddy.
No, thank you for having me, and thank you for having Fame, I assume, right?
Oh, fucking good point.
Nope.
Hey, this is Time Bomb. There we go. Correction. Fame, how are you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Happy to be here.
Yeah, this is a pleasure to have both you guys on. You guys were kind of nervous to come on and do this. I mean, rightly so. I'm sure the whole community will probably have something to say about it as they always do. But I think I have a pretty good format. I mean, I showed you guys exactly what I was gonna do, and you seemed pretty receptive to it, because it's not gonna be like a number 1 to 50 ranking, right? Like, we don't need to get it that specific. But what I've done here is I'm gonna show the spreadsheets here that we'll be updating as we go along here. So we see it's gonna have some different categories. This is the S tier. So players from different lineups will be ranked into either C tier, B tier, A tier, and from there, players could be nominated to the S tier if they're at the top of the game, right? So this S tier is like the best of the best, right? Like, that's where they would go. So the people who would excel at PK would go be up for the Jester Award, in Flex for the Shazam Award, at Straight Objective, which could be either for a Flex player or a Bomber for straight up objective damage. Support, we're going to call that the Gnarliest Award. Objective was the Stracier Award. Not sure if I said that one. And then the Farm Award is the Agriculture Award. So players who have made it to the S tier will then be up, and we'll award those winners at the end. It's from the tier list master. Let me know. You are Platypus in there as well. Another tier list master here. Definitely, give your input for what you're seeing here. If you see something that you don't like, we will definitely get it in there. We'll see if we'll debate it. That's why I brought Rebel and Fame on here. So Rebel, what are your initial thoughts of the setup?
So yeah, we had this, like you said, we had a discussion before we started. I am not partial towards the number tier list. It's almost impossible to rank people below I would even say below even at 1, it's almost impossible to pick the top player in something, and then to go down and say, well, this player was better than that player, but then you put someone below that who might actually be better than another player, right? It doesn't make any sense. But to classify the players into brackets of impact on the game, I think is much more in line if we were to do these kinds of lists. I mean, I personally don't like these kind of lists because it creates a perception of the players in a certain way. But I do like talking about the game, so that's why I agreed to come on. I do like talking about the season, especially.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we do this enough. I don't think we talk about how well some players did during the season, especially in the lower divisions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a good opportunity to hear about those moments during games and even out in pubs and see how they did. So I want to do this as like as a very positive exercise, in order to bring light to some players in the league who maybe underlooked at, and hopefully bring light to them in future seasons, so that way people come and see them play and see how impactful they really are.
So the goal is to go through every single player here too, and we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna split them into these different lists. We're probably gonna have to explain it probably multiple times about how the list will work, but we're gonna go through each team using the docs here, the holy docs, as HUTT has once called them, the sacred documents, where we'll have team and player stats that we can look through here to give us an idea. Fame, what are your thoughts on the process here coming in?
I think this is a good way to to combine the numbers and what we as competitive players see on the field. So just because you see somebody with a high farm number, that might be a symptom of the team being on defense longer, where we know that if we're on offense, we got to keep an eye on this particular farmer because their farm rate is just ridiculous. And going off of what Rebel said, I do like the idea of this being a way to celebrate players who might not be like the most well-known names in the elite division per se, but there are some really good high-level players in Challenger and Open that I think we could bring to light here.
Well, that's the other reason too. I thought that I wanted to have both you guys in here because both of you guys have the unique experience of not only just playing in Elite, knowing all these players, not just kind of for in the Rebels case, you played in Open and Elite. Fame, you played in Challenger this season, so there's a mix. You guys have played a lot of those Challenger teams too. You guys, I just feel like know so many players across the community. It's going to give us, I think, a really good insight into everyone. So I think we're going to start it off here. I'm going to kind of show the format off and kind of make some enemies here right away with my own team. I'm going to show how it's done right away. Okay, like this is tough. This is what I'm going to say though. This is based on this season as well. People may disagree with me. So I'm going to say, and this is the other thing too, we talked about, A tier, B tier, C tier. I think with elite teams, the majority of their players probably will be A tier, and then you'll have some B tier, whereas Challenger, you would probably see a lot of B tier, some A tier, maybe some C tier, and then in the Open, you would see more C tier, B tier, maybe some A tier, like we were talking about in, some cases, maybe like Tourette syndrome, they have some, really, really skilled players there that could possibly be in the A tier. So I'm going to get into Orange Squadron first of all here. Okay, so Orange Squadron, I'm going to say in the B tier, first of all. Time Bomb. I'm going to put myself there. Did not have the best season. I had a solid season on Empire. Y-Wing struggled. I think it's a mixed bag. I did good, but I think that also sets a precedent for what we're seeing. As well, Chewie, he didn't get to play very much. Put him on the B tier. And lastly, another person who didn't get to play much at all this season except for NR, and he had to play some Empire games. He had a tough season. I feel like it's my fault, personally. I'm going to put Spoon as well in the B tier. And I feel like easily Spoon could have been an A tier player. He just didn't get utilized. And that kind of shows what it was this season. Not anything else. It goes down to this season, how we're going to rate all players. On the A tier, I would put Hobbs, Dalek, Chili, Lemming, Sinric. And then I would definitely nominate Hobbs into this area where I think a lot of people would we needed. Someone's asking, why did you make Spoon bomber? We needed a bomber. We had a lot of people drop out from Orange Squadron specifically. Like we had weeks where we were down to just 5 players, and we didn't want to make our Aussie players have to play shunt ships on NA or EU. So yeah, we did. I mean, that's why I would take it personally. I made Spoon do that, So I would definitely say that was on me, and that's why I would have to put him there. But he's obviously not a B tier player, but because of this season, that would go. The awards will be for the top players. We will maybe do some polls and stuff like that to try to figure that out too later. So when we get to those, and Hobbs is the one who I'm putting in the S tier. I think we kind of talked a little bit before about this too, where I thought Nathan. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted someone. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So I think that there's a lot less talk right now because we actually this is kind of sort of like our warm up debate just to get an idea for the flow of this. I think the one person that you might be underselling, actually, in this regard, might be Chili, and I think it's tough because I see Chili as floating between A and S line.
Yeah.
But for this season, right? So Chili was trying to bring up the number here. He looks like he was 14th in damage, just right below Sinric with that Blast Burst X-wing. But that's both sides. So considering the fact that Y-wing brings down the numbers a little bit, very high in the damage count. Total AI kills a game. I'm looking at per game stats. Chili had 28.06 AI kills a game. Not many people were above that with as many games as Chili had. 16 games played. Only one player had 16 games played and beat Chili, and that person was Quintessence. I would make an argument that maybe Chili here had maybe a better season than you think.
No, I mean, I didn't think Chili had a bad season. Not at all. Don't say that.
My point is that, like, I kind of make an argument here that maybe Chili does deserve to be in this S tier discussion.
Okay.
Simply because Chili's stats show it. And, flying with Chili in pubs, flying with Chili, in scrims. Chile makes great game decisions, is a very strong player, is a kind of objective player that changes how we approach the openings, approaches our offenses because of how well Chile farms. So Chile's definitely, I think, in my opinion, this season especially, was a game-changing player, and deserves to be in that S tier. And this is like, I think, one of those. This is one of those great examples where like it's hard to make the discern that like line, but I really, my opinion is, I think Chile makes that jump up here in this discussion.
Okay, I'm gonna make a poll right now. We'll give it 2 minutes. No, wait, do it 3 minutes. Start poll. Should Chile be on S tier? Chile S tier. If anyone, you guys give your feedback, I'm gonna put him. I agree. What do you think, Fame?
He's definitely one of the players. If we're trying to find if we need a player kill, him and Hobbs are the ones we're like, don't bother. Like, why are we shooting at him? It's like, it's going to be a waste of everybody's time. So I would be good with that. It'd be curious to see how he stacks up against the other S tier bombers we have in mind. But if you polled the community and said, hey, is Chile an S tier bomber? I don't think anybody would wink an eye. They'd be like, yeah, that's
Okay.
fair.
I think you're right. Okay, so we're gonna move Chile into that S tier now, unless he's overrided by the community poll there, I guess, that we got going on right now.
I feel like S tier, like this. I'm sorry, Frame. Go ahead.
Chili, but having said that, I don't like you as a person, so get wrecked.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
kidding.
But I think this is the interesting conversation about S tier, and I've had this thought in my head, especially about these tier lists, is that I think some players' stats are inflated or deflated based upon the players they play around, especially the flexes in front of them for objective players, right? Great flexes can help boost the stats of their objective players because their objective players can be very focused on what they're trying to do. Whereas, and this is not an insult, because I'm going to make the same comment about some teams, like even like Savrip, like how some teams like Orange and Savrip, the flexes are great, but it's just harder because they're up against flexes who are slightly better than them, and that puts a lot more pressure on the objective players. And for Chile to pull these kinds of stats this season is why I'm making this argument. I think Chile had a phenomenal season and really was able to step up his game in terms of maximizing his opportunities in the game, kind of deal, right? And this goes even into, like, if you were to say, oh, who's a great objective player? A lot of people say Quint is probably one of the best objective players in the game. I being a homer, I'm like, I think she's probably the best objective player in the game because of the fact that she doesn't get the cover some of the other objective players do. So I think, this is kind of conversation that I don't think a lot of people have in terms of looking at the stats versus outcome.
I think that's make a good point right there. That's the other one. The other two I wanted to make a point about too is Cynric and Nathan, who I think are in the conversation for objective play and PK play respectively. So I think Nathan and Cynric, the only reason they wouldn't is because they didn't play enough games, which again, pretty much my fault, or the fault of our scheduling that kind of made that happen. So again, huge debate too for I think Nathan when he was like really, and Cynric, both with damage and like their KDA average was way up there in both. So I don't know.
Even Nathan, you can look down at his open stats as well, right? Though Nathan didn't play much in the open either. It looks like Nathan didn't have much of a season. Trying to bring it up right now. I don't know. He played 2 games, had a 4-5 kill to death in open, and then in elite, Nathan also had a 4-5 with 5 games. So 7 games, he's holding roughly. Oh, sorry, 4-4. So roughly a 4.47 or so, right, over 7 games, which is pretty high. It's high across the board for kills a game. And kill KDA, I think, is just as high for Nathan.
It's tough to say.
Yeah, Nathan for 5 games has 10 KDA in elite, and I'm afraid to look at open. Probably even stupider. It's 8. No, it's 8 at 2 games, right? So that's like that is towards the top of both lists. If you're looking from a purely PK perspective, so Nathan did his job at least from the PK perspective.
All right. Well, it's tough to. Well, you can kind of keep that one. Oh, he definitely did. That was another thing too. Like, I mean, Nathan had a very high, I think, win percentage too. He played a lot of Empire games. There's the kind of that aspect too that goes into it as well. It's tough to say. I don't know. We kind of have to say how many games do players have to make? Is there a games limit? Do you guys think? Does the chat have any thoughts about that? Is there a games limit that players should reach? What do you think, Fame?
Nah, I think I don't know. It's kind of tough because I don't want to penalize people for any real life stuff. If they played like 1 or 2 match, like when we get to Baywatch, I'm not going to put Scalp in there because I think he just played the cab match all season because he had exciting real life stuff. But if we are including them and they played more than one match, I think all three of us have a pretty good sense of the player skills from like scrims and pubs and all that. So I think we'll be all right.
And 7 games isn't something to sneeze at. That's half a season.
That's
I
true.
mean, that's pretty much half a season.
Not
right
to seem
there.
like a total homer and nominate everyone, I'm going to leave it right there, and we'll see how this goes later on here before
Yeah,
we
no,
nominate more
definitely.
people. So okay, so now we've been
Mhm.
through Orange Squadron here on that one. Okay, Orange straight through. Okay, would you want to do maybe Kintan next, Rebel? How about that? Put you in the hot seat with
Oh, you want
them.
to go down the open? Sure.
Okay, there we go. Perfect. We'll bring them up here.
So I refuse to rank myself.
Oh yeah,
like-
well, that's another thing too. I actually think this is a good thing to time to talk about this. I think another good reason that we should all be here is that Rebel, I think you, like me, are in the B tier, and Fame as well. I think both of it, and this kind of gives like a barometer for a lot of the game, where all of us are like, very successful at the game, and maybe you can argue that too, depending on how your seasons go, if you guys think you should be A tier or not. But I'm going to put you guys there for now, and as we get to your team, when we get to Nova Fame, you can maybe change that idea as well, depending on what you think, and you can make your case for it. But that's where I kind of think people kind of stand right there. So as a barometer, okay, I'm gonna make that call. Rebel, go ahead.
Yeah, why don't we bring up the Kintan Striders and let's bring them in, and then I'll go down the list. I don't want to just start with me.
Sure.
It's not a great way to go. makes you look egotistical.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, Kintan here. It's interesting too because some players from Kintan have played on Savrip too this season. It's kind of a mix of the two.
Yeah, I mean a lot of it was because of of just availability.
And that brings up the point. I would say it's for all of season 5, regardless if you played open or elite. Both of your stats kind of factor into it, and we could upgrade them or not depending on it.
Yeah, I agreed. So I kind of want to start with Panzer, who's my objective partner. And he has improved a lot over the season. Looking over his stats, he in open Panzer did 25 AI kills a game over 14 games, which was towards the top. Especially of players that played 10 or more games. His objective damage per game. Let's bring that up right now.
Average capture damage game was 13.
He was 60,000, right? And that may seem like very little, but of course includes NR game wise. And towards the top, the gap that he's like in like that top middle there, right? So in terms of impact on the game, he's improved a lot over the season. He's definitely starting to learn the game sense a lot better, and I would definitely put him like towards that high B tier right now. I think this next season, I'm expecting Panzer to break in that A tier and become a very influential impact on the game. And I expect a lot of great things from him. But for the rankings we have right now, I do see him as a high B tier, ready to crack into A tier for next season.
Okay, so we'll go B tier for Panzer.
And I think he dabbled in support a touch at the start of the season too. So he wasn't a full-time OBJ, I think. So
Correct.
He's come a long way. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of us played. A lot of us played support. It was the roulette wheel of the stripes this season. Okay, so with that knocked out, let's go to Trades did not play this season. Let's go to Agent Rob. Agent Rob, of course, great PK player, great leader, influential in how he helps us lead the attack. He and Medic, when they were available together, made a great pair. Let me bring up my kills, deaths, a game in the open. Rob got his 8-5 with 8 games played. So he was at the top of just murdering everyone. I think his capture damage a game, though, was something to be asked for here. Yeah, he's more towards the middle pack at 47,000 capture damage a game. Being in the open, definitely not as skilled as the elite players. I think if Rob runs these numbers in the elite, he's really making a case for A tier. But because almost all his games were in We're here in the open. Sorry, now I'm starting to get the fogginess of the whole COVID thing. And I'm the kind of person who who downplays this team. I know I should upplay my team more, but I just like Panzer. I feel Rob is a high B tier, low A tier. And just to not seem like a homer, I want to say B tier, but Rob definitely has the skill set of an A tier here. So
Well, I
I
think
kind of want to hear what you and Fame think about that selection.
I think that's fair because I think we gotta set a barometer. Like the A tier is not easy to crack, right? Like I think it's got to be we'll see as we go along, and we can always make adjustments, and we can make cases, but it's always good to set that way. And if it seems like we could make that adjustment later, we can always go back. But I think this is kind of so far that seems on board with what we've seen a little bit. But because this is an open team as well, so it may need that barometer between it.
Yeah, and I have this feeling like as we talk more through some other teams, I think some of these B tier players will start moving up, kind of deal. I feel like because we start with the two teams that were a little too close to home, we're afraid of
That's maybe true.
cracking that ceiling.
It's both a good and bad place to start.
See, next up, Medic 55. Medic very similar to Agent Rob this season. Medic, I was one of my field commanders out there. Excellent leadership skills, was always helping me with decision making. Out there, I influential in that way. I need to look at his stats. Open, capture damage a game, KDA, Medic. Medic was definitely more towards the mid tier. In terms of KDA, I think objective damage was much of the same because he was very focused on the PK for us. Brought Ion Torp, so obviously those numbers, those contributions won't be seen. Man, this is tough. From a stat line, he's more towards like a solid B for me.
Seems like if I think it's funny how like the numbers are a little bit different in the open where the average deaths was just a little bit higher. That was just kind of the standard in that one as well. But I think a very solid B tier for Medic. He's played a long time and is an experienced player, and as well could have an A tier season anytime.
Yeah, I think with some development, Medic is also looking at. It's like I think it's definitely like a Panzer situation. I think with development, Medic and Panzer are the kind of players that will improve their skills and get to A tier next season. In my opinion.
Okay, so next up is
let's bring Tiny in. Tiny was a newer player. He was the secondary on our Ions. On NR, he was the primary on Empire sometimes. Let's see, his cap ship damage game was on the much lower side. KDA. Also on the much lower side. Still learning the game. Was a huge improvement over the season. But especially compared to a lot of the B tier players, unfortunately, I'd have to put Tiny and see though Tiny is improving greatly, and I'm expecting him to definitely be a PK leader on the team next season.
Keep in mind, he is way better than any of us were when we go back to see where we were as long as he's been playing. From the start of the season, even from the start of the season to this season, I feel comfortable pairing him with anyone else, right? Early in the season, I was like, well, if I have another option, I'm going to rotate Tiny in. But towards the end of the season, I'm like, okay, Tiny, you're here. You're playing both games. Get this done, baby. And Tiny was there and always contributed, right? And I think it's just a matter of the fact that, especially from a game sense, it's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn in the league. Just we all make decisions so much faster, and Tiny adopted a lot of that very quickly, but just not fast enough to be impactful on the stats.
Did you skip over no vowels?
I skipped over Novals and Stellar because we had 2 games. Novals disconnected for 1 game and let us win 4v5. In the second game, he had a pretty good showing.
That's true. What do you do? I guess like you could just you could say. I mean, you could say do not rank, but I see what you're saying. Like people just
without with Novals, he's not even qualified. It's like, hey, we're better when you just
baby put him in CT for screwing us.
Okay, we've set precedent now. And was it Fabian? I think was another.
No, Fabian was our support.
And 12
oh
games.
Man, Fabian has come, another person who's come a long way this season. And again, I'm not trying to be a homer. Fabian started the season. He played support for NRN, came to us, agreed to play support for us. A lot of the game sense just wasn't there when he first started. We worked on it hard, and he knocked it out and got better as the season went. He a little bit mistake prone, but was getting better about it as the season went. But oh man, Fabian, I'd love to. I mean, another B tier player that I know is going to be 18 next season. Like Fabian was phenomenal towards the end of the season in terms of getting beacons out, getting resupplies out, dictating the flow of the game. So like if I were just to judge it on the last 2 sets of games, he's A tier. But over the course of the season, the average is definitely a B right now. But I'm expecting him to have great things next season for us.
Okay, so where do you think Fabian should go then? Was that sounded
I'm
like a
gonna say
B tier, yeah.
B for now.
Which is very fair. I mean, if you think about it, open teams, like that's all very good ratings for it, for the precedent we're setting here. And then is that everyone?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. Like, if you're asking me, I was A tier. I mean, my stats were phenomenal, but I'm not gonna rate myself.
I feel like that's fair.
And
I think that's fair too because go ahead.
Yeah, last person was Stellar, but he only had 2 games.
Right.
So I don't know if it's worth ranking.
I think I did the same. I put Stellar and Novals in the C tier for, basically like, they didn't get to play to really register, but they could easily be higher. All right. Well, maybe we should do another elite team, maybe right now. Fame, do you want to lead us through an elite team of your choice here? How about that? Put you on the hot seat for one. Doesn't have to. It could be Baywatch. It doesn't have to be. You can do whatever.
Yeah, let me get through Baywatch here. That might be the easiest one.
Yeah, just pull the Band-Aid off. Okay. Let's hold on. Let me.
Everyone's A tier. We get it. I understand. Baywatch all on A tier. Yeah.
No, I'm gonna put. I know Sitka's in chat, so Sitka, I'm gonna put your ass in C tier, and I think MJ's gonna agree with that. So get right. All right. So I'm gonna put Fenkar and Disco up on that award section for because
where do you think they should go?
Hold on, let me look at.
So just I think Fenkar with the damage probably, right?
Damage and farm, and honestly, I'm gonna put him up there because of his some of the things he brought in for morale management. Him and Disco can see the game about 2 or 3 steps further than I'd say 99% of the comp team. Like they make some calls that I'm like, why would we? Oh, damn, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, you see it. You see it in the play. Really, like some of the highest level morale management. Even games when I played against Baywatch, I was like, we kind of think like, we got this. No, we did. They pulled it out. Smart. But it's almost like we needed like an MVP category for something like that. But I'm gonna put him in the OBJ.
And just add to his damage. Like, and I've said this several times. Like his damage per game this season was 85,000 K.
Yeah,
that includes NR games. That includes NR games, and he played 10 games.
Wow.
Like that's absolute insanity. That he put up those kinds of numbers.
Those guys, like most elite OBJs, they are not in charge of radar burn. So this is purely on offensive cruiser matchup. So
I'm gonna put Disco win the Shazam Award, which is the Flex Award.
Yes.
Which is another great call because I mean I know I want to add the stats to that. In 3rd place for damage per game in the Elite Division was Disco Dino at 74,000 capture damage. So that means he beat out numerous other objective players to do that much damage as a flex player, right? And that speaks to his value as a player. And
keep in mind, he doesn't carry any damage oxes. He's our double ion carrier. So this is purely from his primary weapon. That's just insane.
Okay.
And this I could be, and you guys feel free to correct me on this one, but I want to nominate my boy What's Up Doc for, like, I don't know if you want to put him in that Hobbs Award section, but we brought him in for Baywatch, and that he is we're talking about S5. But I can't help but think about where Baywatch was before Doc and Baywatch after Doc. But did it not lead most of your games as support? Man. The last 2 last 2 weeks of the season he did, but the first majority of the seasons he actually, just for that, that's a good point, Rob. Just for that, let's put Doc in the A tier because he couldn't play all the games as a support. So that's a good point. Yeah, just for that reason, I'd give Hobbs the tip over that one. So let's put Doc in the A tier.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think about
Okay,
Nop? Because Nop is a player who I think kind of everyone does regard as one of those top support players right up there. So I could see putting him in.
It's hard not to put the top 4, at least the top 3 supports in there, right? I mean, between Nop, Ham, and Asota, right? I mean, they're the kind of players that dictate the game from their vantage point, right? Because a lot of teams, the on transition, you're trying to kill the support.
But at the same,
with those 3, you're just like screw that, and including Hobbs. With those 4, you're like screw that. Don't bother killing those supports. Go do something else.
But at the same time, Nop only played 4 games, so I guess it is tough to put him there too. I guess so. I got to take it back, and I'm gonna put him. I think A tier actually. Unfortunately, even though he's at that level.
This is where Nop and Doc would be. And if this were actually MVP voting, they would be splitting the votes amongst themselves too.
Yeah.
Whereas, and that's the
games did
upside
Doc play at support? How many games did Doc play at support?
Oh, so if Nop played 4, Doc played the others, so
that's
14, 10 matches.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to put Doc up there, I mean, like obviously the support dictates the match, right? And like Baywatch is difficult to defeat because of great support play, right? So I mean, I would have no argument if you drop Nop because he doesn't have as much game time during the season for Doc. Doc should definitely go up to the least consideration for S tier.
Yeah. So let's put time bomb with that in mind. Let's put Nop at A tier and Doc into S tier, please.
Done. Okay, moved up there.
Okay, let's see. Alex I don't think he played more than 2 matches a game, so I'm going to leave him out of this list. Speed of flight, A tier capability. He flew some games, but I don't think he played more than 2 matches, so that's a tough call. Sitka, I would put him in the... He has come a long way as an OBJ player. I know he's notorious for PKing, which rightfully so. He's a ridiculous PKer. I would lean towards your guys' take on it because you guys are the ones getting shot by him.
Yeah, I'd put as far as it goes in aim in the game. I feel like people, in my opinion, have the best aim are Sitka. I mean, Knight and Disco Dino, I think, are actually the 3 people.
I think with PK we could be a little more objective, right? The stats show.
I mean, straight up
Sitka,
aim is like against me. That's what I feel like. There's other people who are better at dunking, but just like on lasers on targets, those 3 really stand out to me.
I mean, Sitka had the 9th best KDA in Elite at 33, which is stupid high.
Yeah.
For a flex. Right. I mean, and it's easy to go down this because some of these KDA are supports, right? Because you expect assists to come from the supports. But I mean, when you're leading KDA as the flex, right, that means you're also getting the assists along with the kills there, which we know in Elite is far and few between. So not only is Sitka not dying, he's assisting in any way he possibly can. So I would definitely sit there and say that Sitka is deserving of being in that PK discussion.
Yep.
Yeah, to me, he's an S tier, definitely a possibility on that Chester Award, I think, even too, depending how you look at it. It's tough to say. Who's next on the list there?
We got.
I shouldn't have shared this list. I didn't realize that when people looked at it, it would change what we're doing.
Yeah, it really does.
Sorry, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I never really thought about that either. I guess I could. Wait, can you do something?
You can make a copy. Just make a copy. And then this way it'll only be yours.
Let's put Brandon in the A tier.
Better not let that open. Put Brandon in the A tier, yeah.
Fankar we already covered. No Bear played, I think, 1 match, so I don't think he qualifies. Same thing with
C tier. Put him in C tier. No, I'm just joking.
Sorry, so Brandon A tier.
At least Brandon showed up your match. My guy showed up and disconnected.
He did. See, No Bear doesn't qualify. we already got. Scalp didn't play enough. Yeah, I think that's it. I think we got everybody from Baywatch. For all the crap we get for our roster sizes, we got through that pretty fast.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad at all.
Wait, what about Beach? You didn't score Beach. Beach played 9
oh my
games.
god, sorry, Beach. No,
Beach, I remembered you. Beach, I remembered you. Don't worry, Beach. Remember this. Remember this, Beach.
Hold on, yeah, I'll go through again. Alex, we said no. Brandon, Disco. Wow, okay, now they're just being jerks here. Okay, hold on one second.
God, somebody send it to Beach. He's never gonna talk to me again.
I remembered you, Beach. Don't worry.
I would put him just. I love the guy, and he brings so much to the team in terms of tactics. But the way the other teams focus on him, especially on the opening joust when we're playing NR, I am gonna put him in the high B tier. I think I don't know if it's a console thing. I know we got Chili in there, but if we run No Bear, Fankar, Brandon, Alex, or Beach at OBJ, he's the one that's going to get targeted, especially in the Y-Wing. So for that reason alone, I'm going to put him in.
And the stats unfortunately show it. I mean, I love Beach as well, but his average deaths per game was pretty high compared to some others, right? So it definitely, what you're saying has merit, and Beach is a very talented pilot, and it could just very well be the limitations of his playing on a console that
if you look at
hold him back.
And even just looking,
sorry, continue.
Yeah, no, sorry, just to interrupt too. One thing I noticed about Baywatch too is the average deaths were a little higher, but they also had a lot of success regardless of those average deaths, which kind of shows to me maybe the pushing the out of phases too and that stuff as well. But I think you definitely nailed it, the read on them for sure. Okay. I also copied it over now, so no more hijinks. Okay, so let me see. I should actually mark off Baywatch. Okay, we could do... What's a team to do?
Jeez, we probably should have the list of Elite. Let's at least get through Elite, because we're not making great time.
We're not making... Yeah. Well, you know what? We took a lot of time with our own, so I guess we will keep going. We'll keep peppering in Elite. We'll try to go a little faster through a Challenger. Let's go through... why not? I got CRONE here up right now. Why not CRONE? Okay, I picked them randomly here.
We're going to CRONE?
Yeah, I went to CRONE Squadron here, Challenger. So let me just bring them up. Okay.
On my side here.
So this is another one too where I can kind of look at the team stats where I'm I actually don't even know how CRONE did. I think they were kind of middle in the Challenger this season.
No, they relegated.
They relegated, so they went down to open. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of team where we can kind of look out and say, well, who are the standouts of them, basically?
Well, they had trouble because Barry Sachs was probably one of their better OBJs. He didn't get to play much. Same thing with Professor Autumn, who's an absolute game changer, especially in that NRA wing. But that really, the availability of their top players kind of limited their strength in matches, and that kind of showed. Oddly enough, the one win they got, Nova, Brecht.
Trying to look for any of the the elite stats here, the average deaths. Everyone's kind of over 1, but that was more normal in the Challenger as well.
Yeah, talk about a bloodbath.
Verisax only played 2 games and he had over 30 AIs. Capship damage, pretty standard stuff.
Well, I would say I'm trying to look through some of the crap. I just had it. I'm trying to look at some of the stuff here. I think the biggest standout, like you said, Verisax was sorely missed, but Ska, from a capship damage per game perspective, played 15 games for them. Did 66,000 capship damage average per game, which was high for the Challenger division, because the Challenger division's best capship damage per game was Kuki at 73k capship damage. So I gotta look at the rest of Scott's stats here, and I'll be honest, I was hoping Fame would give you a little bit more insight than this in terms of the Challengers. I didn't watch much of Challenger this season, but looking at Scott's total deaths were low, so his average deaths per game were closer to 1. I could see Scott being one of the more influential players from their team. Definitely the kind of player that you need in order to stay competitive. Looking at his stat line, it's again one of those low A, high B tier kinds of things. Fame, I don't remember if you played against them.
I've actually already made an executive decision to have all of these players go C tier for this reason. I think it makes sense for precedent if they did go from that division down. I think I'm going to put them in
Yeah,
there.
I would say though Scott might be the B tier player from
Okay.
them in terms of performance.
I think that makes
looking
sense.
at it across
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll move them up to B tier then.
Rebel, can you look up how many games Professor Autumn played?
8 games.
8 games. So just for that, I put her in B because I know a lot of challenger teams specifically game plan their approach around Autumn.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So just for
And
that,
actually, Autumn did have a 4-4 KDA over 8 games in this Bloodbath of League. That put her as the 5th best player in the league for KDA.
yeah.
So that's a very good call, very good shout for that.
Okay, so I can... Oh, hey, did I get a follower? Thank you. Thank you very much. Genie Stream with the follow. Much appreciated, or whatever. Was that a follow? Sweet. Anything in the chat we missed here?
I think some support for that call in Autumn, actually.
All right, good stuff. Okay, so I'm going to keep us... Oh, another follow. Thanks a lot, guys. Much appreciated. Kano 101. All right, I better not... I'll recognize them all as much as I can. Let's move on to HUTT, maybe. I'll go through HUTT right here. I can lead that one.
So I'd be good with Kabuki being one of their best players.
Kabuki's damage per game was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was elite level.
Wow.
And he's really bouncy too.
Yeah, I could see Kabuki making an argument for A tier here. I mean, Kabuki definitely is a very influential player, and definitely I think gave HUTT's life towards the back end of their season. I wonder if Sheriff agrees with me. Yep, Sheriff definitely agrees with me out there in chat world.
So Kabuki
Sheriff,
for the ace.
Sheriff, where do you rank yourself? Sheriff, where do you rank yourself?
Yeah, Sheriff. Interesting point. I could... Like, to me, Sheriff brings that element of is the game planning when you talk about someone who leads a team, too. So that's why Sheriff is one of those people who I would put in... I feel like the A tier, unless he was disappointed, like, his season. I feel like the numbers look pretty good, though, from what I saw.
I think Sheriff had a drop off a bit on AI, but I think that's also because Sheriff was playing multi-role when they were doing their 4-bomber strategy, because his KDA is high,
Yeah.
obviously for...
This is the case for someone who's just, like, the way that they play changes a game but does not show up on the scoreboard at all. Like, one person chasing you with ICT and Ion primaries is lead... I don't know, like, I kind of see that...
I would put him at like A minus B plus tier, but for the sake of this one and time efficiency, let's put him at B tier. And
I was gonna say the stats lead towards B. And
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Sheriff is a phenomenal player.
You're right. It makes a good point.
Without a doubt.
So then you've got someone else like Big Brain, who's one of those people who's a really, really strong support player. Like a 0.82 average stats, leading this team in average stats by far.
An average score of a 1500. I mean, that's one of the best things you can look at for a support, right? If the support is looking around 1600 score a game, that means the support is contributing highly to the team's success, right? And we know that Brain has the skill sets to be an elite level support. I personally feel that Brain probably is in the A tier with influence. Especially, like I said, the Hutts did not have a great start to this season. They looked like they were going to get relegated, and they really turned it around. And it's play from people like Brain and Kabuki that I think really turned the season around in order to save it. So I could definitely make that argument that because they staved off relegation and fought for promotion, that someone like Brain and Kabuki are definitely worthy of A tier talk.
Okay, so I have put Brain and Kabuki there, and then I would have put so Bacifus, Fenwin, Radiant Prime. I would put them as solid B tier players. I think all of them have potential to be A tier. They just had pretty standard seasons. And
as Sheriff has been consistently saying, if anything, I think the one player here that I'm most disappointed in is Radiant. And again, it's because of the non-practice thing, but Radiant, I know is a fantastic player. And I know it's a little bit of just tailing off from the game this season. So I'm expecting Radiant and Sheriff to be A tier next season if they give a shit. If not, then they'll probably be back here.
I did this wrong. Xephius, I spelled that wrong. Fenwin, spelled wrong probably. Radiant Prime, wow, spelling time bomb. And then Taurus, I think Taurus and DeGreen as well. I put them as solid, probably B tier players. These are all players who, getting in into Elite, they would have and doing the scrims. And when they scrim, I'm sure moving forward, these are all players who definitely could, push the A tier and have been A tier. Okay, so we knocked off HUTT, another one. Okay, so I think we might be ready to go into another Elite team. How about GUAC? We'll go into GUAC right now. So GUAC had a kind of a tough season. I mean, it was a little bit rough for them off the start. Then they really found their footing, and they were giving a bunch of teams hard times. Did they beat Saffron?
They beat Saffron 2-1. That was probably their big win of the season. Good. They were trying to catapult that into possibly a playoff spot, but unfortunately they couldn't, and were unfortunate in their loss to Storm Chasers to get relegated.
So I'm trying to think. Typically, Zyphas has been their big farmer. His numbers were actually a little bit down this season. Now that I look at it.
Yep. I think you're gonna see a lot of their numbers down across. I mean, the 27 is below a lot of what you expect from AI farmers at this level.
Also this season, a lot of the teams were intentionally PKing the farmers on transition. So whereas it used to be a pure base race, so I think opponents of GUAC focus EPOP or Zyphas when they're going from offense to defense, and that cut the farm numbers, I think.
But looking at them versus the average of other players, actually, the 27 from Zyphas, even though low for him, was towards the top.
It is true. I think the standouts were more the 30 plus where you really saw it. But you're right. That was the pretty. I feel like that's standard for if you're a team, especially if you're losing. Though you should probably be higher almost than that. No, just because you're going to spend a little bit more time on defense almost. So,
which is because so Fencar is a great example. Fencar only had 22 AI kills a game over 10 games, whereas Zyphas 27 over 13. Right. So Zyphas's contributions are high. But now we have to look at another critical stat is, like you were saying, Fame, deaths per game. If Zyphas is doing all of this, but is taking too many deaths a game, and his average deaths a game was 2. In this league, that is high. That is incredibly high. And I think that it making him a liability on the field made him the target, right? Like you said, Fame. And his impact on the game was definitely that he was able to get his jobs done, but he was probably pushed out a lot, and it made it difficult for morale management, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to say here. I mean, Zyphas is definitely not a C class player in my opinion. I think he's definitely in the solid B.
Yeah. I'd say with if you don't pressure Epapa and Zyphas, they can flip anything really quick just from their farm knowledge and coordination. But just based on the death numbers, I put them in B tier.
Yeah, I think GUAC is a prime example of a pretty B tier team because there are a lot of players who were A tier, but just from this season, I think they've all pretty much in the B tier, I would say. Although Platt's making a case for Zyphas being A and Tottenham being same push in the S tier. Because I will say Zyphas knows the migration patterns of the AI better than almost anyone, I think. Right? He knows. So it is a tough. I think everyone else I'm going to start to kind of move into the B tier, I think, here.
Yeah. So and this goes back to our discussion we had before. Game sense, how much impact does game sense have on these ranking? Right, because then it becomes an esoteric numerical value. How do we apply game sense into ranking the players? And absolutely, Zyphas's oneness with the AI packs is fantastic. And in previous seasons, definitely he was a very impactful player, especially for GUAC, in terms of how they won or lost the game. This season the numbers show probably a downturn in Zyphaz's performance.
We're gonna do a poll for this one.
Yeah, and I'm just yeah, you could poll the people. I'm just saying, So the question becomes, do we look at historical performance and impact it here, or are we looking purely at the season, right? And purely in terms of the season, it's between that. It really is at that B tier, low A tier level, kind of deal, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that one. The player from GUAC that's closer to the A tier than the B tier, I would say is actually their support Dick Willie.
I was about to say that. Go ahead, Fame, go, please. I was about to say that.
Yeah, that's a great point.
If
Go ahead.
you're trying to get a player pick, even if he's in a pancake, he's not an easy get. You're not going to sneak up on Dick Willie at all. I've seen some teams go for the farmers or even the enemy flexes at times.
Mm-hmm.
But Dick Willie, unless you have him marked in perfect coordination, you're not going to be able to kill him. So I'd say he's in that class right below the top four of Doc, Ham, Minnesota. There's that tier, and then there's right below that, and I think Dick Willie is solidly in that group.
Especially his assists per games is considerably high. He is fourth at 2.47. So his contributions into making sure that the PK game gets going means that his beacon game was very effective, right? I would say Dick Willie had an A tier season, this season for him, and he definitely is probably one of the biggest reasons GUAC was super competitive, and it was just not enough to beat Storm Chasers. So definitely, I think Dick Willie is probably their A tier standout this season from this team. I agree with Fame on that.
Okay. Okay, it's still a little bit. Like, we'll see about Zyphas then. We're gonna get the results for what he's gonna be in a second. I feel like we'll see what the results is, and then we'll go from there. I'll mark GUAC off of the list here. Let's just there we go. Straight through. Wow, we're actually doing pretty good for an hour in right now. We've done like half of a lead almost. There's a couple of the we could do better, but we're moving fast. We're gaining steam here. I think it's going good.
I blame Rebel for taking a year and a half on Kintan. Otherwise,
I said not to start with them.
Yeah, I mean, I probably took too long at Orange. You did a clinic on Baywatch, so that was great. Okay,
all B tier.
Shouldn't maybe done so long. How much is left? How long did I make this poll?
Polls don't have time limits. You end it.
You gotta close it.
What? No, it
I'm
doesn't.
pretty sure
But it said 3 minutes.
Oh,
right?
we don't. Okay, we don't see the timer. Let's go to the next one. We can always adjust that.
Okay, I'll go end poll. So, A tier wins for Zyphas. All right, there we go. So that answers it.
Good retirement present.
You retired?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
you didn't know that. He'll be retiring this season.
That's a bummer. Okay, well, Zyphas, man, you're always a pleasure to play with, buddy. So I hope you come back one day. I don't know what to say. That always makes me a bum, but they all come back eventually, right?
He has the best stream music, in my opinion. Like, you tune into a stream, you just feel relaxed. You're in a good vibe.
Oh, hold on. Sheriff, don't complain the length of this stream, buddy. You took like 5 hours to describe a 10-minute game, so I don't want to hear it. Continue.
The length of the stream, it's 1 hour. It's been 1 hour so far. This was a scheduled 2-hour stream, so that's pretty good.
Okay, chill.
We'll see how we do here. We'll be impressed if we. Do you want to do? Who should we do? Should we do?
Do Rock. No, do Rock. Do Rock. If you're gonna do a team on a different division, do Rock.
ROGs?
I think Rock deserves. Yeah, they deserve to be talked about.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So
there you go. Fluvia's Pro. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, where can I Rogue Alpha, Rogue Squadron Italian? Yeah, okay, there. That's why they're both Rogue. They're just different here. Okay, so I got them up here.
Yeah, if you guys have not seen Rogue Squadron Italia, they had a phenomenal season in the Open.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. A lot of people were not expecting them to do very well, and they finished third. In the division behind KINTAN and Turret Syndrome. And I would say of all of them, it was Coco de Mama who had a MVP-like season. The dude did 42 AI a game. His cap ship damage was 76,000 K per game. And he had an average kills per game of 1.67. So he literally did it all to try and carry his team to victory. And if that isn't A tier, I don't even know how to begin to explain what A tier is then.
So Space Sheriff, putting him into the A tier. You're thinking, okay.
I know Coco.
No,
Coco.
not
Oh,
Space
I misheard. Wait,
Um,
my bad. Coco. Coco's like, how could you get me wrong? Sorry, Coco. I misheard.
And this is a guy I've been watching even during the Cadet Cup championships. Like, just his rate of growth has been phenomenal. And to speed through it, I mean, the rest of them did have a phenomenal season. In terms of impact of the game, they all played very much at challenger level.
Mhm.
Especially Evo, I played against in POGS. Evo, Fluvius, Space Sheriff, they're all very good players, very B tier right now. I think I expect someone like Evo and Fluvius to maybe crack an A tier next season. I want to see them kind of prove it against harder competition, and I think they will. So look, Raw
Yeah.
Italia,
Mhm, yeah.
everyone should watch out for next season.
yeah,
So
they're a
Fluvius,
great
Evo,
example
and
of
Space
a
Sheriff. Go ahead. Yep.
Yeah, they're a great example of a team where if you're on defense and you're not paying attention and you don't have the right evasive skills ready, these guys will make you pay. And that's partially how they're able to get so much damage in, not because of their OBJ focuses the fact that you're dead and you can't farm, so they can do whatever they want on offense.
Yeah.
So.
And they do have They do have two other players, Tio Garrett and Viper, who are newer to the team. They're C tier. They're newer players. They're learning the game. They perform very well, but they're just not yet at like the competitive level you'd expect them to be at.
Mhm.
Tio Garrett and Viper.
And I think did I miss someone else there? Mick Minati
They
and
had played
Lena.
1 and 2 games. Yeah,
Mick
I didn't.
Minati and
I don't
Lena.
have
Sure.
too much.
I'll just put it in there. And I probably spelled this wrong.
Layla, I'd also add at C tier. She played a couple games.
Yep, got them in
Yeah.
there. And Lena, okay, added them. Yeah, stats don't show the full picture. That's why, I mean, we're like Sheriff's saying, stats don't show the full picture. We're just trying to get that and kind of mix it in with as much as we can. The opinions and thoughts that we've had from playing in them, at least. Okay, so there we go. We got ROG crossed off there. Okay, what do we want to do next? We could do CA.
Elite.
Sorry, what were we going to
Yeah,
say?
do an elite.
Do an elite
Do
team?
another elite team.
I feel
Yeah.
like it's nice to pepper those in. You know, I feel like we got to go kind of 2-1. We'll do one,
Okay, fine.
one more open team. I'm going to do CA Red, who... This will be interesting. Did you play CA Red? I know they kind of had a tough season, actually, right? Like, they had a tough time getting their team together this season.
They had a huge shakeup in the middle of it.
Mhm.
I don't know all of the politics behind it, but they definitely, from the beginning of the season to the end of the season, were a different team. Actually, yeah, one player's name isn't even here, who was the captain at the beginning. They had a great season. I will say that they were a tough team to play against. They pushed us to our limit. I don't think any of them really had a standout season in terms of statistics looking at it.
Mishka and Train are two players who are really efficient with PK wise anytime I play against them.
We're on CA Red.
CA Red, yeah, CA Red. They're both listed here on CA Red, aren't they?
Oh,
yeah, we're talking about CA Red.
The wrong one. My bad. I apologize.
Oh, okay, no worries. Yeah, yeah. So those two players as well. I mean, Gully and Askeladd as well, with 3.7 average kills and 2.4, not too bad at all. But yeah, I feel like they were all C tier with potential.
Well, I would say Askeladd and Askeladd, Psycho, and Trame are definitely in that B tier level. They were competitive. A lot of their problems were definitely from game management and just mitigating mistakes. Golly and Nomas are getting much better as players. It's hard for me to put them into the B tier though, because their stats don't show it, and they're improving vastly, and I expect them to be much better players next season. So right now, unfortunately, I put Golly and Nomas in C tier, but it's not they're bad, just that they have room for improvement to get into B tier. I think they will do it next season.
And I'm gonna Train B tier, I think. We didn't say him.
Yeah, no, I meant to say Trim if I didn't say it.
Mishka as well. Probably that B tier as well. If they put base, yeah, right. That's
I didn't
he
see
only
much of
played
Mishka, so
he
it's
only
hard for me
played
to say.
3 games, so that's kind of the tough
Yeah,
one.
so I didn't see much.
So it's most,
of him
I guess,
play, so
based
can't-
on games played, and then that considering that, we'll go C tier for Mishka to keep it fair.
Yeah, I put half of Baywatch not even on the list because they didn't play enough games. So
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's kind of a little different though too, because those are higher tier play. Like, it doesn't make sense for me to put some of those players on C tier, I guess, at that point when they are like, if they play probably much higher tier players anyway.
Mhm.
And I think as they get more game experience, they're going to get better. A lot of it was just poor game decisions that they just made, and if they mitigate that, they're going to get better as a team and as players.
The skill set is definitely there. Just playing the game, right?
Okay, what do we want to do now, guys? From an elite, who's kind of next up? Who wants to lead one?
Don't make me beat Saber.
Rebel, you were begging
Someone
for an
else do Saber.
elite, so you want to pick an? You
I
want to?
know.
Yeah, you want to do good old Saber?
Let's do Cab.
Let's do Cab.
No, let's do
Cab.
Cab.
Okay, sure. Cab's.
Yeah,
Cab's.
I
We
don't
haven't
wanna
seen
do
anyone in S tier for a while either, and I think there is
That's why I wanted to do Cab first.
Yeah, I
'cause
feel like
think
there's
right off the bat,
there's
we're gonna get
someone who I
someone.
think is a great person to note out in the agriculture award here, who is
Zug Zug.
Zug Zug, of
Zug Zug.
course, like crazy average AIs, right? What am I seeing? I'm seeing 44.18. Like,
Which is
Yeah,
insanely
put them
high.
in
He
the
usually
agriculture section.
I mean, he gets the agriculture. If he's the first one here,
Yeah.
Zug Zug up in that
Right.
agriculture award, right? Or did we want to put Fenkar there? Now I can't remember if Fenkar, because
Fenkar's AI was low this season.
oh, was it? Okay, so he
Yeah.
wasn't there. Okay. So Zug Zug from CA Blue is a standout to me on that tier. I think he's. I mean, especially because their record is pretty balanced, and they run long. They do run long games, and he has to play defense a lot. But he's getting very like higher numbers than everyone
Right.
still.
I have to go AFK in a second,
Mhm.
but I want to say also Rain deserves to be PK
Definitely
award
Yeah, I think
S
so.
tier. Give me 5 minutes, guys. Right back.
Sure,
You guys
no
continue.
worries.
Time up. You want to throw a commercial break or something?
That's a great
Right,
idea, actually. I could use a little bio break, so we'll run an ad here. Be right back. Okay. And we are back here, guys. You hear me still, Fame Thing?
Yep, I got you.
All right. Let's go into another one here. Let's take how about doing Nova? You want to get into Nova?
Do you want to finish Cap? We didn't.
Oh, we didn't finish Cap. Oh my goodness. How could I just abort Cap? That was almost the meanest move.
Like Zub said, that's it. Rest of y'all, bye.
Yeah, bye guys. All of you didn't play this season. We also got Rain. We also, of course, made note of Rain and put him. Sorry, I'm getting myself up to speed here. Catching maybe you guys all knew already. We had Rain as well. Another S tier player. We have very few S tier. We are being super hard on S tier players right now.
Well, it's what it takes to be an S tier, and so let's see. Looking at Cab, I'm gonna give Super Cab. I'm gonna start with Super Cab because he was a noob. I want to say a season ago, but then he's just a really good elite flex. I'll give him right between A and B tier. I mean, probably a B tier for now. But he's like his dunks are really solid.
Mhm.
You and Rebel are the ones who have gotten shot at by him most recently. But I'll be good with Super Kevin B tier right now.
Yeah, I think that's a fair place to put him. Yeah, I mean, great season. I mean, Cab had a really strong PK season as well. They were one of the leaders there with PK. And honestly, when we played them, the game pace was very different than every other game of the season for that reason. It was interesting the way they extended phases, and honestly, we won openings against them, and I thought we would have won those games, but they morale management was very high. So great. I mean, I want to shout out to them. Who I'm spacing. Yeah, go ahead.
Rain and Deadweight, I would say both are at least A tier, and then Rain I'd be good with putting in S tier.
Yeah, Deadweight I'll put him in A tier.
Yeah.
And is Deadweight their support?
No, Deadweight's their second flex along with Rain.
Who's the is it
Jonathan
Joel?
Jonathan played support this season. It used to be Waffle Potato,
right.
But he's been
he didn't really play. So Jonathan had a great season of support. Honestly, he was super hard to get. I would put him A tier support for sure.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I'm sorry that I
That's
spaced. So I was like, does he play? Because I remember watching. I was just spacing on him. I feel bad that I'm saying that, but I mean, yeah, average just a little high, but I really thought he played great. I put him on an A-tier support.
Yeah. I mean, he's nasty as hell, and I'd say it's partially because of their PK style and maybe some cap ship attacks where he died.
I put
And then we got
Machete and Floophead, I believe.
he's not a part of the team, so I don't think we have to worry about him.
No.
I
He's not
agree.
part of the team. I'm just caught up.
Yeah, I got you. So I like the hat. Oh, hello, little Rebel. So right now, Rebel, we are thinking about Rain and Deadweight in A tier and possibly Rain in S tier.
Rain is S tier in my opinion.
I think that one seemed pretty clear for me.
This PK numbers are stupid high.
Yeah. And the ones we haven't decided yet are Floop and Doomhite.
I think I put.
I need
It's tough to say, yeah, because they're on the line. They're such great players, but what about the season, right?
Yeah, Floop's stats are kind of poor this season for Haste.
But neither of them really played that much either. So I think that makes a pretty honest B tier for both of them.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something about their talent. It's just more so.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, too. I mean, this is so funny between, like, Cab, Savrip, and Orange there right in the middle. Like, honestly, a game goes different for any three of us. Like, if any three of us just played better in one matchup of the season, basically, we would have separated ourselves that much more. So if it was CA Blue, and then, you know what I mean, sure, everything would have looked a little better. I just find that so interesting how tight it was there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Doom, Deadweight, Floop, Jonathan Joel, Rain, Machete. I think we said we didn't rank. Waffle we also didn't because they didn't really play, aren't playing. And then Kevin, Zug, of course we got. So Zug, and Rain got added to the S tier here from this one. Disco Fenkar. Okay, so Cab, have we missed anyone? I feel like for the S tier. I feel like revisiting. I feel like there's two people who now could go into the S tier for the Agriculture Award. I think Chili. Oh, we've already got Chili there. Good. Okay, we got him there in the Distracier. I'm debating about that one now, but I think definitely Dalek it should go in here. I'm making that executive. I was on the fence with it earlier, and I'm putting him.
You could review the stream. I was right. You could review the stream. I was right.
Okay, let's.
What did I say about putting it on my table?
What did she say?
Oh,
Someone's in trouble. Hold on.
Hi. Oh.
Okay, so next we'll move on to. We should probably do maybe another challenger team here. Do you want to do Nova now, Fame? Since
let's get it done with here. I think looking at Nova's roster, I think our best player was Power Pally. Him and Keblo were really good flex pair. So I'd be comfortable with Pally in low A, high B tier. So let's put Pally in at A for now. I'd be open to putting them down to B if need be. I'm already in B. I'd go with Lizard Wizard and Bugs. I love them, but in terms of evasion, average deaths, farm number, I think they are in C tier as of now.
It's been a tough season for Nova too, like 2 in a row. But I know they're kind of like
I mean, they were going through different auxiliaries and loadouts and formations and stuff, and we also ran into Storm Chasers wild card. And
good. I mean, Challenger was competitive this season too.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of people who just didn't play that much too, like Zoltry, Dictator. I see with 2 games in there too, not that much either, right?
Zoltry was a last minute fill-in. Where Pseudo couldn't play, so I had to scoot over to support, and he filled in, which was awesome. It was really fun flying with him. Let's see, Kebla, for PKing, he would be A tier, but in terms of overall gameplay, I'd say put the rest of Nova in B tier.
So Kebla, Pseudo,
yeah,
and who's the last one there? Kebla, Pseudo, Tasty?
Tasty,
of course. Tasty. I mean, respect to Tasty too. He's been playing like lots of B-Wing for a while, right?
Yeah, and so it was tricky transitioning back into standard 2-2-1, so no B-wing play this season. But I would say Nova. I'd be fair to say that Nova is one of the bigger downfalls was inability to get damage in as Empire, which I know sounds weird, but I'd say that's a reason why a lot of us are in B and C tier, with the exception of Pally.
I mean, no, yeah, the Challenger was a little different too that way, where Empire like dominated a little bit more too. I think that was the one division where it was less split and Empire really ran away. So if you couldn't run an Empire game in Challenger, yeah, you had a hard time. Okay, we can take a look at B team here. This is a team who's been around for a while, and right off the jump, someone who I think about, Fat Boy, so like a Plasburster, So I'm considering him for an A tier player. What do you guys think about that?
I wouldn't go too bad, but he's not the same as.
That's true. Does he hang with the list, right? Like, of people here, like, interesting. Like, I'm looking at this list of A tier.
On the stat page, the fight part what I was going to say was, playing with him pubs, capture damage is always lacking, but here, he's one of the leader in team capture damage. Of course, his average kills is one of the best in the division. Average deaths is right in line with what you expect. Average score per game is the second best on the team. So in terms of success for the B team, you can make the argument that Fat Boy is a big reason that team was very competitive. Because the mere fact of the matter is he's outscoring most of his bombers, and maybe the Bs don't do as well as they do this season without Fat Boy.
What do you think, Fame?
Yeah, he's definitely overqualified for B tier. Yeah, I think we got to put him in A tier.
Nice. Okay, I think that's a fair one. Interesting. I wasn't sure if that would go. As well, we'll be able to kind of go over the A tier and the B tiers and kind of like see if there's any movement there too. This isn't set in stone necessarily right now either. But I think pretty much everyone. How did B team do this season?
They finished 4th. In Challenger.
It was tight. Because HUTT jumped up. I thought we were going to be playing PORGS or B team, and then it went all over.
Yeah. Looking at the rest of it, I'd say Redbrook. He's a great guy. Come a long way, but his evasion is quite a B tier, so I put Redbrook in C tier. Let's see. Maze is a very underrated support. His skill level and evasion,
definitely
could qualify for A tier, but oof.
I would put him in B tier for now, but I think that's a good point. What about Deja Enigma? It's another player. He didn't play as much this season. I don't know if he's still playing, but he's pretty solid. No, his damage was down, but he's a solid player, I guess. It's a little not as the best season. I would put him, I guess, in this.
He's right there on the border of B and C.
See, I feel like a lot of these guys are kind of going to go in the B tier. Crazy D, Deja, Hawkeye, maybe C.
I'd say I think we're going to put him in B tier for now, but Fox is somebody that should be in that A tier. I'm going to put him at B tier for now, with a caveat saying he's going to be in A tier next season.
That was Fox should be B tier?
Yeah.
And then so I'm going to put Crazy D, Deja, Fox are all going B tier.
Yeah. And Redbrook in C tier.
Yeah, Redbrook C tier, Fat Boy, we got A tier. Hawkeye, did we say where he was?
No, I don't think he played a whole lot this season, actually.
Oh, that's true. Oh, he played 8 games. A little higher. I guess C tier then, since they didn't stand out and you have no opinion, I'm going to go C tier then. I guess a tough call. Sometimes we got to make those tough decisions, though. All right, yes. B team covered here. All right, let's take a look. We got 4 teams still left in Elite. What do you guys want? Another challenge or an open? Your call.
Why don't we do an open team?
Yeah, let's go to open.
Okay.
Do turret syndrome. Let's have some fun here in the middle.
Sure. Turret syndrome. I mean, this is a wild one too. Like, So I think, first of all, I'd say JP and Wasabi are A tier pilots, right? Like,
yeah, there's no doubt about that.
those two for sure.
I don't even know how we look at the stats right now.
I mean, I just know all these people so well.
What are stats with turret syndrome?
I mean, Rare is the only one I'm going to put C tier, just because he's got to kind of, he's got to get the time in and play it. He's bringing on Mimosa Squadron, so I think he'll definitely be at least B tier after next season, though. And then, I mean, Staffy, amazing player. Bagels are all amazing, but they just have to, they were just in the open, and easily could be B or A players if they were really playing all the time and getting those reps in and getting to play on the Aussie servers. Bronco could probably be a support player in an elite team if he really wanted to be.
I'd say Broncos at 18.
I know. Look at his stats too. 1.5.
The stats mean nothing.
1.5.
Their average AI were 12 and 11, and they won most of their games. That's why these stats mean nothing. These stats are useless.
Anti-stellar stats are meaningless from them all. Yeah, that's true. Bronco probably played support every game, though, too. But we were kind of factoring that in some cases. I mean, I guess depending on players we know.
Bronco played support, had an average assist of 4.5. Maybe if it's assists per game. His assists per game must be stupid high.
It's interesting. Okay, well, let's see here.
Let's see. Assists per game.
I'm going to put Bronco in A tier, then, if you think so. Okay, Bagels,
on skill.
Nathan's already got the S tier. For C tier, JP and Wasabi we got in the A tier. Wookie only played 4 games. If she could have killed it in elite as well, I'll put her as B tier just based on that season. But
Bronco had the 7th highest assist per game, and he's the support. Everyone above him are all flexes. Except for Psycho. Psycho was the next highest support.
People are saying maybe JP should be S tier. Medics JP S tier. What should JP be S tier for? PK? Just being JP.
Hold on, I gotta bring up his kill to stats. The stats are just, oh my god, Wookie's KD 17.5. Sorry. Wasabi and JP respectively. Wasabi had a 463 KD. JP had a 379 KD over 7 and 8 games. Only 2 other players had better KD ratios with 8 or more games, and that were Darium and Leaf, who both had phenomenal seasons at 6-4 and 5, and actually may have an argument for being the PK list, even though they're in the open.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's hard.
How do you balance these?
Yeah, if you put you
know what? That's the thing. JP would have success in elite, though, at this level, though.
Yeah, he would have this elite, and not to mention 2 of those matches that JP has been in were out of phase games.
You know what? This is the epitome of the Destracier award to me in a lot of ways, right? JP. Destracier, if anyone who doesn't know, is the original person who kind of figured out boost gasping and just couldn't explain it to anyone else, really. So I feel
honestly, he's an S tier flex player. I'd say he's more of a Shazam. His flex play is game changing.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Okay. You give him Shazam, another. If you're gonna talk about out of phasing, Shazam,
exactly.
the original fucking stay in the danger zone out of phaser. So yeah, Shazam award makes sense to me. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and if you're talking about game influence, the fact that they won 2 out of phase games, is game influence, right? That's huge. What puts him in the S tier, to be honest. Ignoring old stats.
Yeah, let's put him in S tier.
Okay, so we got him there. All right, let's knock TS off the list then. Let's do the chat. Chat got a suggestion for who we should do next?
No, I was giving you
anyone?
Anyone want?
Just do it.
Let's go to Challenger. Let's do Hellporgs.
Oh, good call.
And someone wants HUTT next after this.
Okay, there we go. We'll do HUTT after. We haven't done an elite team in a bit. And there's going to be some standouts on that team, that's for sure. Okay, so we got Hellporgs, a pretty big lineup. Look at this. A lot of people didn't play many games, like Techie, plus JB, Minor. Megadeth. I guess he did a switch team at some point because he was on another roster.
Yeah, he was a sub at one point, so I think we could just not list those guys.
So we've got play. Yeah, sure. What about? Okay, so I guess Jito seems like a B tier to me. Pretty solid B tier support, right?
Oh,
What do you guys think? No. Lower, higher?
I'm pausing because we put Pseudo in B tier, and if Pseudo's B tier, Jito should be B tier. If we put Jito to C, it should be C. So
Yeah, no,
that's
exactly
why
that. That doesn't make sense at all. I mean,
right.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll get back into moving people up or down when we finish here. We can like take we can go through it. We'll leave that as that for now. We'll see how they fall a little bit.
I will jump in and say let's put Radiac in A tier.
Okay.
Probably the most underrated OJ pilot in the game.
I don't get to play against him that much. Anytime I do, he's an issue.
No, but his stats support that. I mean, at 42 average AI per game in a league where PK dominated, it's very telling. And Rediak is a very influential player for his
if
team.
You listen to any teams opposing Hellporgs, he's the last one they go for. Kind of like what we talked about earlier in terms of Orange, or like don't bother shooting at Chili. That's what Radiac is. Yeah, so I put Radiac in A tier, Jackson, Julius, Suchi in B tier.
Interesting, Jackson. I just curious your thoughts on why Jackson should be B tier. I don't disagree with you in a way. I don't disagree with you. I'm just curious your thoughts.
Jackson is, if you watch his cruiser attack runs, it's not quite A tier level in my opinion. So Jackson used to be an A tier just because of his sheer numbers and farm. But if you watch his attack runs now, it's not much of a strafe. He still gets crazy farm. He can turn on any unsuspecting flex and burn him. But I don't think his evasion and attack runs qualify him for A tier.
No, I think that's a good answer. I think I know Jackson. I think was a great player summer of last year. He took some time off. I think he needs some time to get back into it. I agree his evasion needs some work right now, and it shows in his numbers. His average death was 231. I know it was a heavy PK league, but it's still a high number for an objective player. His average AI was actually not even, he was 5th best on the team. So I think Jackson is a phenomenal player. 72k capture damage, 3rd on the team. He will get there, but definitely he needs some time to readjust to the speed of the game today.
Right. And on that note, I'm gonna put Ben O'Neill in C tier because when Nova played Hellporgs, he was the one we went for and got consistent kills on.
Yeah,
I guess in that term.
Oh, Cora Van Dyke is the last one I think for that list.
I don't think Coral. Oh yeah,
he played 11 games. He's got
lower
average deaths for the team, 1.6, 62k average. I mean, this is the one where it's tough to say when you go beyond the numbers.
Oh, and that reminds me, we gotta think about Wedge as well. I know he's with Storm Chasers now, but Suchi and Coral are the staple 3.
But looking at Coral's numbers, Coral's a solid B, right?
You're right.
Average capture damage 62k, average kills is 2.64.
You're right.
So definitely good contribution, right? So if you're putting Julius in that B tier, then Coral Vander outperformed Julius.
Yeah, so I think they all kind of fit in there. Okay, so I think that, do we miss anyone there? Wedge will include with Storm Chasers, I guess. Well, because am I wrong? Or maybe I'm wrong. What do you think now, or Storm Chasers? I will go with Storm Chasers. Alright, so knock off Hellporgs, and now we will do HUTT was the one that was requested next, right?
Who's not A?
Yeah. Well, who's not S? Okay, so Knight, I think, should probably go into the Jester Award area there. I mean, Jish, probably in the objective.
I'm actually trying to look at their stats as you're just talking.
Ham, I would put into the support. HUTT played 5 games. I'm gonna put him on the A tier. Luma, I mean, they're just all so good. You know, like this is such a top level team. Luma played a ton of games.
Their average, the entire team's average death is below 1.
I know. I mean, they're just deadly.
And then, funny enough, the average AIs are low, but I mean, of course, if you're winning the game, it's hard.
I mean, they're just so efficient at it, right? Like they just do. Like when you look at these 26, they're like they get the minimum amount that they possibly need, right? It's like 3 packs plus pick or raider. You know what I mean? It's just and out of phase. Like the math is just in their favor for what they need, and they're so efficient at it. Like their time on defense is so low. Like in that sense, I almost feel like Rod or Luma could go into the agricultural war. Maybe they both should, to be honest, because they had some great seasons farming.
I definitely Rod especially. I mean, at 26.6, I mean that it's hard to see that number, but I mean, that
if anyone from HUTT even wants to jump in there,
being very effective in his farm. Right, Luma's hard because Luma was doing a little bit of everything,
and still his numbers
are so deceptive. Yeah, those numbers are deceptive because he's doing a little bit of everything. Right, because if you're going to say Jish is doing capture damage, I mean Luma's numbers were right there with Jish's. They're both dead even.
Wow.
Right, in terms of objective damage.
Does you know what I remember some games when Knight wasn't there, Jish was playing the defender role too, so I know he played a couple objective games. But Luma also played bomber too, so like how do you break up those things?
If anything, I think Luma as the flex player for the team was probably the more critical award for him.
Yeah, you know what? Jish came in and says Luma is the best farmer, so I'm gonna resolve to that and then put him there and put Rod in the A tier for their team. Then we had Orion, who didn't play very much. Ralph, of course, like such good aim. I mean, running the burst lasers basically to with Knights, like, and finishing people off. It's a pretty deadly combo. I would put him A tier. Tough to say, should he be higher?
This is one of those things where, like, I mean, to be honest, from a skill level, Ralph is S tier. There's no question about it.
I mean,
how do you
think Ralph's S tier? Yeah, look at these numbers.
Yeah, it's just a matter of where, right? I mean, Ralph's contributions is as a pairing.
I would put him straight up. I would put him straight
flex.
Up. Yeah, I know. I mean, Knight could easily be that flex as well, but I'll put Ralph in that area right now for more combining.
They're interchangeable, but I mean, like, if you're gonna say Knight is the one putting the kills on, then Ralph is the one, picking up the damage, putting on the ion missiles, like doing all the dirty work that doesn't get all of the award, like doesn't get all the flash, right?
They're basically S tier starting lineup, like that. That's it, right? Because you see Luma, Ham, Chiqua, Ralph, Knight. I mean, you could put. I'm gonna nominate Rod too. I think their combination of farm really showed it that it was S tier farm. So I mean, I would put them all kind of in there.
Honestly, we're going to see this from Tempest as well, right? I mean, this is why they are the 2 finalists, right? They both put in S tier seasons from top to bottom, so it's hard to even just say who's really an A tier and who's an S tier from this team because of how well they all performed.
Yeah, and I mean, the only reason HUTT and Orion aren't there is they just played slightly less games. Like that's the same criteria we viewed with everyone, I think. But yeah, they're right, obviously there. Okay, let's knock them off. It's funny. Sometimes those ones are so. That one was so easy to do, like compared to like every other one. What about a little? Did I mark them off? Okay, let's go with IG. IG. They didn't play as much this year, or maybe they didn't play as much. I felt like they had missed some games. Was I mistaken?
They did. They had a couple forfeits in their season and still had a great season. Lego Imperial Guard.
I am
right there. Right below Kintan.
Oh my goodness, thank you. I've been doing it for long enough.
It's confused everyone all season, don't worry. I mean, it's hard not to say Dynasty's an A-tier player. I mean, his stat line is stupid for the Open. Even for the Open, it's stupid. I mean, his deaths are kind of high, but they were maiming a bit all season. Dynasty definitely was the crux of that team. Again, the only reason you probably don't put him in S tier is because he was flying in the Open and didn't fly in the Elite Division. So definitely an A tier player.
Okay, so I put him in the A tier. What about? I guess the rest of the team, would they fall in the B tier? And it was just kind of like the forfeits that kind of affected their record.
Uh, if the answer is to be how they performed as a team. I mean, like I said, a lot of maiming this season from them. You know, they're having a lot of fun. They played very well as a team. I would definitely say that Trap, Bane, and Trap and Bane definitely are B tier in my opinion. You know, great pilots, excellent, excellent technique, excellent mechanics. But just having a bit of fun with the season, right? So they weren't trying to do anything special. It wasn't like they were trying to really take it seriously to win.
I mean, Heck, great player from back in the day too. I feel I forgot about Heck. Great player still out there.
Yeah, and I'm thinking too on Heck because Heck played a little bit of everything. Heck was their main support, but Heck did also screw around in other ships.
I'll give. I was thinking silver for Heck as well. I don't know. Just looking at the numbers, maybe that doesn't back it up though.
Yeah, I mean, Heck is an A tier skilled player.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they like I said, just them screwing around makes it hard for me to push anyone upwards.
Hey,
I would say
it's tier 1 subscriber Von Karajan. Big thank you, huge, much appreciated.
I think the Captain Fantastic of all the players that played the most, I think is that player who's still developing. I can see being a B tier player next season if they take it seriously. Putting Captain Fantastic in C tier right now, because he's more of that developing kind of player who is going to be breaking out. I feel in the near future. And then Hansu and Wild, not enough games in my opinion to make a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
It was
makes
Captain
sense.
Fantastic.
Captain Fantastic. I missed. Okay. Should have put the team names because I'm gonna be probably spaced on some of them when I go through them again. But if I have to, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyways,
Yeah, try to put my favors.
I think we got all of them. Yeah. Okay, so we got them
Yeah.
covered. Lego IG. Is Dynasty in here? Any hot takes from Dynasty that we missed? Maybe he's not checking it out.
Where do we put Dynasty?
We might put Dynasty to sleep is what we did.
Yeah, we gave him A tier. How can you complain about that? Right? Okay. Let's try and do.
Oh, that character just gave you a sub, so why don't we do Venom next?
That makes sense. Okay, so CTx.
Oh, Venom. Oh boy, here we go. Woo! Okay.
Okay, I need to go for like 30 minutes. You guys can talk. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we do. Oh no, I'm breaking up. I'm gonna get in so much trouble for this one. Let's do it. Where's Venom? There it is. We can just do. Honestly, we can knock out Venom and Vader's wrist both out of the way here.
Yeah, for sure. So I think I would put Graf Luca in the B tier.
No, I would put him, Jersey, Brick, all in C tier.
Okay.
Is that the whole list? Because I mean, okay, so like Head Fencer is a B tier player.
That's a good point.
Head Fencer had a great season. That's not, let's be fair. Head Fencer was phenomenal PK. Was excellent with trying to mitigate what he could on objective damage. I thought he had a fantastic season.
Oh, Mishka's here as well, right? That was one who we saw somewhere else, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Then we got Padme and Pistario. Where do they fall? Sorry, what were you saying?
Actually, I got a DM from somebody who I actually respect, saying Graf is a B tier, so I'll listen to him. We can put Graf in B.
I was going to say Graf actually had a great season. Regardless, outside of one game series, Graf actually was very impactful as a team. A little bit high on the deaths, but was able to keep the farm going under incredible pressure.
Because I saw him fly support in a couple of the matches.
That's the thing. He flew a lot of different roles as well, right? Yeah. So I mean, that's the one thing. Like they can rely on him to play multiple roles.
I think Von Karajan played some support. It looks like from the numbers here.
Yeah, Von Kara played support for them. I would also say B tier. Von Kara took a lot of fire. I mean, I know that personally because when he played support against us, very, very high target, but very hard to kill. So again, one of those things where the numbers don't show. Even though the average assist is 2.67, even though a high average death. So I mean, it shows that the support play was very strong, even though the high deaths.
What about Padme and Pistario?
Man, MJ had come a long way this season. I think the average death is high. Her evasion has gotten better all season. I will say that the peels, and the reason the average death across the board was the peels was so hard for the team.
Has she made it to the B tier, or is she C tier still?
I'm still feeling C tier right now. She needs game awareness. Still needs some work.
I'd say we put Presario in the C tier, MJ in the C tier in terms of the overall season. If we're taking the last 2 or 3 games, she could be B tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to take the whole season, and then Yezerak as well. He might be B. Is he a B tier, or is he? Because
I think he's C.
That's a little high. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, is so like on border. Like some games he's B tier, some games he's C tier, and it's hard to say.
Yeah, he's been playing for. I mean, he's a dogfight, for a long time. Very strong dogfight player.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of shows. Okay, so TFA Vader's wrist. I'm gonna bring up here as well. She getting familiar. I mean, a lot of these people have been playing for a while too. Any standouts that would be B tier from this group? I guess is the real question.
I think the best player from them are either Joss Pence and Scramblin. But I don't know. I haven't really flown against these guys in a long time.
How did they do this season? Actually, that's the real question. Do we have?
They were towards the bottom.
So I
they
think
had a very tough season.
So I would probably move them all over to C tier then.
Yeah.
I think for that.
I'm okay with that.
Can you just Joe Spence? Let me read off
Wait, just copy the whole thing and then right click paste without formatting.
Ooh, look at that. Paste special.
Yeah. Well,
Format.
copy that. No, copy that.
Copy.
Wait, no.
No,
Yep, copy and then go back to the other one to your other sheet. Yeah, if you copy that,
Oh
then
yeah.
go back to the
I'm
sheet.
with you now. Now I'm with you.
And then paste special.
Paste special.
Uh,
Formats all. Oh no, I have. Okay, we're
Value only. You had it right. Yeah, you're right. You had it right. Values only.
okay. So they're in. We did it, guys. And I'm learning. Look at that. Look at that. Look at this little tech course for Time Bomb right here. So we got TFA and we knocked off CTx.
I'm reading how much hate I'm gonna get from MJ and
I think we should kind of work away. What about we could go through? We'll work down the open. Then we'll take care of the challenger, and you know what? We could actually bounce. What do we have left? We'll leave Tempest for the end, I guess. We'll do Savrip now. How about? And then we'll go back for
Okay,
TC.
fine. Why don't you lead that though, Bob, and then I'll comment.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Why don't you lead that and I'll comment?
Okay, sure. So
You lead Savrip.
I'll leave Savrip. Okay. 1 second here. Oh my gosh, I am finding them. Okay, so I think Birdbrain is A tier.
Yes.
Quinn farm numbers are S tier. I feel like the 37 average for games is huge. So I would go Quinn and in the agriculture, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, her ability to farm under pressure is unreal.
Yeah.
I do believe she had one of the highest AI farm numbers for the season, and that's under considerable pressure.
And teams know you have to slow down her farm, or otherwise you're going to get no offense, and she still gets the farm.
I think Thanatos didn't play enough to get much more recognition or any real read, I think.
I don't think he played much this season, did
Rob
No,
we
he
got
did not.
earlier. I think Lauren and Zareth are both B tier, I think. With an opportunity, I think, with better play to get to that A tier. And Lauren also had to switch roles a lot between, I think much better at bomber than support.
Yeah.
And Zareth didn't play as much in the elite this season and was kind of coming back a bit, so that's, I think, a little bit lower in that rank.
Also, he has a newborn baby, so I'm willing to put him in B tier just for surviving those few months.
Yeah. And then I had one of Sagan, A tier player, I think. Had a great season. Was that the first season with you guys? Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This was
I mean,
Sagan's first.
huge part of your team. Birdbrain wasn't there for the whole season either, and I think Sagan was a big part of the team. Played bomber,
And we
played
actually-
flex, right? Like mixed different.
Yeah, as I say, we actually transitioned him from objective to flex because we knew that flex is his natural role. But he was a phenomenal bomber for us. A phenomenal bomber for us. He played any role, at least in those two that we needed him at in any game set.
So that's my thoughts. I think that's all of Sabrip then. I think, Birdbrain's PK. That's the only thing to. Was how strong was it this game? Average kills 1.15. Oh no, I did something bad there. Yeah, I think the A tier is solid. I think it goes on. It just I think we noticed too a difference between playing Sabrip with and without Birdbrain, right? Like I think he's a game changer.
So if you were to look at the numbers purely, Birdbrain had a 4 KDA over 13 games. The only people better than him, so he was on the same level as Turnip with 4 KDA over 13 games. Velian was at 4.4. Knight was at 5, Arisi was at 5.33, and Rain was at 5.56. Ralph is 5.80. So I mean, Bird is definitely that conversation for the PK award if you're to look at it. Just I in terms of winning it, I think it's a hard sell simply because Bird definitely was fantastic this season for us from PK. But I think definitely someone like Knight, Ralph were more impressive. And Velian were more impressive on the PK, right? But Bird definitely was one of the top PKers. So I mean, at least putting him in the discussion is worth saying. So I think he is actually deserving being in the PK award, not to be a homer or anything.
Interesting. Okay. Kamikaze raising. Why is Turnip in B? Should Turnip also being right in that discussion then be upgraded from the B tier?
That's actually, I mean, that's worth discussing. Because
I think that makes sense. I think you could recognize. I mean, Turnip is one of those players who is really good. So I would say, Turnip could go up here then. I think the one thing I would look at is just the games played. Maybe if it was like extraordinary low, which I don't think it is.
Turnip played 13 games. 13 games.
So I mean,
KDA 4.
Yeah, definitely. Turnip can go to A tier then.
Definitely, like you said earlier, like some players can move up based upon looking at.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. I love someone bringing it up, and we could look at it, and then I would go Birdbrain here, actually. I'll move Birdbrain into the S tier for making that difference. And also because, behind that, you guys made the playoffs, right? Like, it was, for the difference between you guys top forming, when I'm saying players who are in there, well, I think changed the game for you guys, and I say Birdbrain is a different Sabrip, absolutely deserves that S tier. That's exactly what we're talking about. So Savrip's done. Now we'll go. Let's look at another open team. I think here we got NRN Rogue and Laser left, so we can kind of go through both of those. Laser, I don't know as well. Laser. Oh, so this is the gray team. Is this a newer gray team?
Yeah, it's the new gray team.
That's the one that Power Pally's been coaching. They are. I'd say you can put most of them in C tier, and I don't think you would mind because they were basically a developmental team this whole season, and it was just like learning how to game manage, morale, elevation, target priority. So but you could put them in C tier. I think it'll be all right.
Yeah, unfortunately, they finished last in the opener.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one was NRN Rogue Omega.
I'd say same.
Whoa, hold on. I mean, so you have players like Darium and JJRP, who Darium especially is an influential player for them. Played support, fantastic work, especially in the open. It wasn't easy. A lot of pressure. Even though it wasn't like as heavy PK, I think Darium definitely had a B tier season from him. JJRP was very oppressive on PK. Trying to look up his stats. He's showing average kills of 4.55, which means that his KDA in the open, since this updates, was 3.5 over 11 games, which is on the upper level. So definitely, I think I could make a case for JJRP to also be a B tier for them, in terms of impact and skill set.
So JJ and Darium, you think we're B tier?
Yeah,
I think that's true. I know those players. I would say that holds up. Okay, so we got NRN. Okay, so now I think we have worked through all of Open has been done. We have ranked.
TRA. You didn't do TRA yet.
Oh, TRA. I was so close. Okay, TRA. Last team in open now.
TRA, I would say the most Leaf Shot, I'd say is.
Oh, Leaf is borderline A tier. I mean,
yeah, I would.
These numbers are stupid.
Yeah.
Leaf is
654 KDA over 16 games. He played every game and led pretty much the league in KDA.
I mean, the only reason Leaf is questioned about being A tier is that he played on C, but I mean open. I'm gonna put Leaf in A tier though because I know he's a strong player. I'm making that call. I mean Twig's also a good player.
So I mean, Sharper,
Mithrin, you know,
Evil Grin.
Mm-hmm.
They all had they were very strong. They're definitely B tier players. Comparing them against the Open. Twigs, I agree if you say B tier. I think Mike was probably their standout. Ghost is also Ghost only had 4 games, but Ghost I would say is B tier. Mike Skate though, he was picked on a little bit on
I think I broke
support.
this. Oh shit.
What'd you do?
Hold on.
Hit escape.
Oh no, I just changed the color there. Okay, we're fine.
Okay. I think Mike Skate is the one that I would say, you know, he tried his best in support. Definitely needs to work on his power mechanics and his positioning. Left himself a little exposed in terms of getting in work, especially beacons. And I think that really hurt TRA this season was that Mike Skate was able to be isolated. Like when teams figured it out, they really isolated out Mike Skate and he couldn't get the beacons in, and that hurt TRA on attacking. And Mike, great guy. Hopefully he can get some work in next season and improve his power management to get to that B level. But I could see him as a C tier player right now.
Mm-hmm. And then Ghost Talker, I think, moved on to another team, right? Isn't he on Wild?
No, Ghost is still there.
He's still there. He just didn't play.
Oh, okay.
He played 4 games. He played 4 games.
I feel like running into him ladder. I'm pretty solid.
Yeah.
What about Evil Grin? Where's he?
He's
probably C tier, I guess.
Natural, low B, high C. How many games did he? I don't think he played
6 games.
Oh, 6
He played 6 games. He played 6 games. I mean, his average death is kind of high, but he was influential. I mean, yeah, high C, low B, around there.
Okay, so now we got TRA covered, and we can move on to the last 2 teams in Challenger. No, 3 teams. We got NRN. We'll start with them. Did I mix up my NRN? Is this Rogue Omega or is this no? This is NRN.
Rogue Alpha is the Challenger team.
Rogue Alpha. Here we go. Okay, so classic. I mean, it's cool. A lot of these guys have been playing for a while. Out of that NRN, right? Like this is the crew's been together for quite a bit. JGRP I see as well in this team.
Mm-hmm.
Just taking a look here. Any standouts? Is this how did they do this season? They were the lower end of the Challenger.
They staved off relegation, so they were a relegation candidate. They just played against TRA and beat them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Pew pew.
Pew pew. So would you put them all? What do you think? Is there any standouts for? I don't think there's any A tier standouts or anything, but I think these are probably B tier players for the most part.
Yes, let me just check one person quick here. Yeah, that's what I thought. This is tough. If I put JJRP in B, that means Spoonman stays in B, but Spoon had an incredibly good season. 5.33 KDA over 11 games. His impact of the team was shown in his average score, which was killer. His average capship damage was actually one of the highest here. Oh man,
is it the kind of stats that could stand with the A tier people that we're seeing though?
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't know either of that, especially because they had a not great season. Like, I mean, they staved off relegation. Not trying to take anything away, but
yeah, no. But I mean, I definitely a big shout out to Spoonman. Those are the kind of numbers that if he does it again next season, he's talking himself into being like one of those A tier players where it's kind of like, oh man, we really, you really have to consider this guy and watch out for him.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we can. You know what? Maybe I'll do TSQ next here. I can run through them pretty. I know them quite well. Now they're gonna be losing a few players next season too. It looks like, and they had a hard time this season. Getting their practices in. Cresius, he didn't really get to play. Crow, top support, like A tier support. Darkblade, he's had some seasons that were A tier. I think this season might probably more B tier for him. Reese is the kind of player like these crazy. Look at his numbers here and the crazy KD. Same with Trevor. They got a high KDA, like a top of the league. You kind of gotta give them that A tier, I guess, for the numbers wise. It just didn't come with the result, even though it's kind of similar to Nova last season, where they were very high in kills but couldn't get the wins, the game management to back it up behind it. Hilarious. So good too, such a great farmer. Like, I mean, easily could be an A tier player. It's just they didn't quite
That's
have
the damage numbers. Yeah, looking at, especially in the elite division, you have to have someone who's showing like 60, 70,000 cap ship damage. And when you have no one on your objective side doing that, that kind of shows to why the team struggled a bit. And I'm not saying that they're bad. Obviously, the elite division is incredibly difficult, but that's where the weaknesses are starting to be exposed.
And I think like you can see it too in the farm numbers. He was super high farm, just a tough season. But Valerius definitely, and Darkblade, like their bombers are very strong. Trevor, you kind of got to give Trevor that A tier just behind his numbers alone. It's tough. And Arizi, right? I mean, is there an argument not to put them on the A tier for those numbers alone in the elite? Or?
I will not put in A tier because if we're looking at if Birdbrain is going to qualify for A tier, I can't put Trevor in the same category.
We actually have Birdbrain right now in S tier, I believe.
Did we put him up there?
Yeah, we've got him up in S tier. It's been debated. Some people thought otherwise in the chat. I believe Lions thought against it, maybe. S tier has been pretty tough, but I mean, Birdbrain was really high numbers and led Savrip to a top 4 spot. So, I could see the case there for him on S tier.
I don't mind. The only reason why I'm pushing back on Trevor is because of his Ox choices with the Rockets.
You know what? I'll go with Trevor back down. I'll put Trevor down to B just for the Rockets alone. And you know what, Trevor? I said it too. And then Arizi, I think, had the higher numbers, and that's why I think we've kept him in. Well, Lubin also pretty decent numbers here too. Damn.
Arizi had one of the best KDAs in the league at 5.33.
Wait, how many games?
Oh, he only had 2 games.
Oh, well, that'll do it. That's why. That won't do it. Okay, so it's hard to give him gold then. We'll have to put him down.
Yeah, I wouldn't even put him on the list. Like Scout,
that's pretty fair. That's a good point. Okay, sorry, Arizi, you're gone from the list now. But Lumen played 9 games and had a 2.67. So he's got to be at least B tier, because that's tops as well. Valerius is someone who will end up being cracked. Yeah, I mean, Valerius is so freaking good, honestly. He is a big damage output bomber, and yeah, he could easily be an A tier, if not lead the league. Meme played 11 games. I think he played a little bit of everything. Not bad. Average deaths though too. I think he was playing bomber and a little support. Maybe I'm wrong when Crow wasn't there. Again, I think B tier player. Did I miss anyone there? Cresius didn't really play. Reese didn't really play. Okay. I think we got Tangerine covered then. Okay, now we can take a look at Storm Chasers. Guys, thank you so much for staying with me through this too. You guys, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing okay. Let's see.
It's almost dinner time for me, so I'm gonna be ordering some dinner in like 2 seconds.
If you guys need to go as well at any point, I completely understand, and I can wrap up whenever. But without you guys, don't worry about that. But I might
have to make one. I might have to make one change on one of my selections. But we'll do that towards the end.
Okay, because we got Storm. You know what? We can power through these things. I think in like 10 minutes, and then I can do like the fine tuning of it with everyone afterwards, right? Because it's just Storm Chasers, Wildcard, Tempest left here.
Okay, so we're basically there. I'd say Plaid. I'd put A.
Yeah, I think it's Plaid and Zero are gonna go A tier. What do you guys
I'm
think?
good with that. Because Plaid's farm alone can carry anything, and she is very hard to kill. So
Mhm.
I go with Plaid at A.
Then Sausage is, I mean, another player. I mean, all of these players, you got to give a shout out to Tempest for putting this team together, because this is just a great team of newer players that is just, this is what the SCL is about. Like, you know, new teams coming in and making their way up, right? Like, this is awesome. So Sausage, you get B tier, but I mean, all these players would probably be like, we're gonna see them all be A tier probably next season. Creekzilla, another great player from IG back in the day, right? Or am I mistaken? Is that correct?
Yeah, IG.
Yeah.
IG.
So I mean, again, I'm gonna put you guys B, but I mean, you guys could easily be A at another time. Plat's the newest player ever. Yeah, first player ever. Cosmokazi here, 14 games. Guess another B tier player.
I would say at the start of the season he was B tier. Towards the end of the season, he became close to A tier. So let's keep him B for now, but he's basically there.
His AI for games look really high. I'm trying to bring it up now, which is a good indication of input of beacons, right, from a support.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Trying to bring it up. Cosmos actually is one of the highest at 3.57 over 14 games. Only 2 other players had better, which were Skirty and Half a Ship. And those are some of the better supports in the division. Give me a second, Zoe. And I think the other thing I was going to say had to do with the average score per game, which was also pretty high from Cosmo. 14-4. Oh, no, that's about average for our support. So I mean, like, you know, there's a case for Cosmo being in A. B isn't that bad of a shout either.
I think for the way we've been doing this tier list, when on the fence we put them in B to make that A section like that much more exclusive.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, because the A section is pretty exclusive here, you know, and the S is like we're been pretty hard. We've been pretty hard, you know. I like this. I like it. It's not easy. It's not easy to be in the top tier, right, and to be nominated for these awards.
By the way, Cosmo, if you're listening to on stream, you're a much better support than me, in my opinion. So,
all right, now we're moving on to wild card here, and I'm gonna make a call here. Maybe you don't know what people think. Foka to me is gonna go in the top support conversation.
I'm good with that.
I'm curious to your thoughts on why. Just, you know, run me through it.
I think because he led, or not led, but he played support for one team that won the Challenger, and then he was playing support in the playoffs for Tempest. So I think it showed on both levels he can play at the highest level. So I think you got to include him in that conversation right now. And as well, over this season, his play has just been amazing. Like, I've played with him a fair amount. Just I've seen how he was playing last season and how much he's improved. He is, I mean, right up there, I think.
It's interesting you say that, though, because I mean, especially for this season, Foka was playing more of a flex kind of role.
Really?
Yeah, he was the murder support in that attack, right? So Skirty was their actual true support, which is why I am not opposed to it. It's an interesting conversation to have, because putting him in the support role is kind of a disservice to his performance for the season. He was very influential as a flex player, as opposed to support player in terms of impact on the season. But that's just my 2 cents.
That's fair.
I need to talk to my wife about dinner, so give me like 5 minutes again.
Sure, yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just take a quick little break here, or like just a quick little break and be right back, because I gotta hit the washroom again too. So let's do a quick little break. We'll be right back, guys. Oh, we are now back. We are now back. We are now live again. All right, so we were on wild card right now. We put Foka in there. So what about for the rest? What about Calamity? Let's just go down the list here. Calamity.
I'm on the wrong.
I have a hard time judging him because when I played against Wildcard, we were too busy getting shot at by Voltaire, Starfire, and Foga to tell what the hell they're doing.
Oh man, that team is hard. I mean, Calamity's deaths are really high. The average AI is kind of low.
Okay.
And a lot of the, even watching as a third party, a lot of the work done by Wildcard was very anti against the meta, in that they were winning by basically staying on offense as long as possible, right? So from a pure number standpoint, even though they won the league, I mean, someone like Calamity is like sitting around like that C.
I put him in the. I gave him the B tier for that reason. Like, it's impressive. Maybe we should do with them more the standouts, like the average kills being, maybe Starfire and Voltaire. Should we look at them for? Are they A tier?
If we're on OBJ, can we finish up with Jackal? Because he was the OBJ. So if we're talking between Calamity and Jackal, if Calamity's dying, that means Jackal has to carry the load.
So, it's almost like I want to say Jackal was what, B and Calamity C.
Interesting.
Go with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what about Voltar and Starfire are two you think you got to look at with the PK numbers? Are they A tier though with those numbers? That's the real question. Do they get to that point? To me, I have a hard time saying it because they haven't earned it quite yet. Who is it? Like when I look at the other players there, but I mean the numbers are so high. Like Voltaire, how could you not? I mean, you kind of got to put Voltaire on the A tier list just for the numbers alone, right?
Well, cause it's almost like wildcards need to be in their own category because it's really hard to shoehorn.
Well, I'm going to make the call and put Starfire in the B tier, and I think Voltaire in the A, just because the numbers you can't deny.
Especially impact on the game, Voltaire, because it's not otherworldly, but Voltaire, especially when I was watching him fly, definitely helped to dictate the match. So I can see the argument for A tier being there for Voltaire.
Yeah. So Voltaire, I'm going to put A tier. Skirty and Starfire are going to go B tier. And then we put Calamity C tier. Wasai only played 3. Sabotage only played 4. So I don't know if we really need to beat them. Anything in the chat? Holy shit, Jackal and B. What do you think? Was that wrong? Who said that? Platypus.
I think Jackal will be super high B tier, but again, if it's not a super clear, like right away, oh, he's A, he's S, or she's A, S, I think we put him in B for now.
Yeah, people seem to agree with my Foca S tier call, I think, anyway. There seems to be some agreement there for that one.
For Jackal is a very talented pilot. I think the issue that I think me and Fame are having is that we'd like to see it in the elite.
Yeah, that's true.
Jackal's an A type player, and there's a reason for that, right? The pressure you get at the elite level is just so much different that it's kind of like, oh man, like it's just a completely different ball game in the elite tier, especially for objective players. Like it really chews out elite objective players in the elite division, and it's hard to sit there and say that.
The Y-Wing and elite.
They deserve to be an A when they haven't even flown an elite yet.
Okay, you know what? I got to do show my cat. Hold on 1 second. We'll get my cat up here.
Do we put Skirty in the list yet?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it though. So where do you think Skirty goes? I think Skirty had a great season, but I'm not 100%. I'm not sold that Skirty yet is an A tier support yet.
I'd almost put him just because
Hello.
In the games he played.
Sorry, what level did you say?
C, Charlie. Just because he was, I don't know.
I don't think he did that poorly though. I don't think Skirty played that poorly.
I take that back. If we have Gita and Pseudo in B, Skirty should be in B as well.
Yeah, I mean, Skirty wasn't the most evasive pilot, but Skirty wasn't the most killable pilot either. I think Skirty had a fantastic season, protected very well by a great flex core, and I'm interested to see how Skirty does if they stay with how they're playing in the elite division. Now, of course, they may change the more standard meta, but that's to be seen.
And I really want to see how the elite level players counter to Wildcard's playstyle.
Yeah.
That I am really curious to see.
We haven't seen all-out PK teams like this in Elite yet. We've seen teams utilize PK to extend phases strategically. I mean, maybe CA Blue, you could argue, has been like a pretty PK heavy team, and Tangerine, but it hasn't translated into dominant success in Elite yet. So that'd be interesting to see.
In the match that I played against Wildcard versus Nova, as soon as the other farmer went down, we're on defense. I hear the other farmer go down. I'm counting in my head like, okay, either Foco, Volkit, or Starfire, two of them are coming at me right now because the other farmer's down, and I know they're not shooting the big ship.
Yeah. All right, I think we're ready to move on to the last team. Is this the last team? Did we do everyone? Let me double check. Yeah, all right, Tempest. Okay, so this one's not too tough either, and the one that a lot of these players are going to go to the top. I think, oh my goodness, who do you put? I think they're all A tier, if not higher. It's just who we put in the S tier.
I think a lot of them we talked about as S tier.
So I think, okay, Lions and Isoda, I think, go to S tier, looking at those two. I think that's pretty good. Lions, Isoda. I mean, Jack is an A tier. Look at his damage, 69k damage. Like, he really killed it in damage. He was getting kills this season, lower deaths, you know.
I would put Velian in S and Ek in A.
Velian, Rex. Say that again.
Velian is definitely S. Velian's definitely an S. I mean, he's one of the highest KDAs as well, right? He was just above Bird at 440. Velian is definitely the talk for the PK award, without a doubt.
Okay, so we're gonna put. I agree with that. Velian for the Jester award. What about for Flex? Do we have anyone who needs to go to Flex from here? Should Ek go there? Because I mean, he's got kills, lower average deaths, damage.
Expired had 69,000 captured damage per game over 12 games, and that's as a Flex player.
Yeah, so he's getting the the Shazam there. I would put him up line for that. And then also, you know, Tom or Maticus could go in the bomber spot, right? Like, well, surprised their numbers are average capture damage are 47 and 51 respectively. I guess those numbers don't jump out for objective though, even though I just know them as such badass OBJ.
Well, it's sometimes they run that triple bomber, so the damage gets spread.
That's true. That's true. Consistent farm from them, but I mean, another team sort of similar to HUTT where they get a lot of farm. Like, it's interesting. If there's anyone from Tempest who would want to nominate the best farmer from Tempest, that would be interesting to see. Oh, Scribbler's back. He missed out on ranking this season.
I think Tempest is suffering also from too much success. But not Tom was the highest at 24.21 over 14 games amongst Tempest, which is very close to where Fenkar and Beach are. They're below Rod at 26.60, who we nominated. So I mean, of them, Somaticus was 24.5. Tom was 24.21. I mean, they're both there in the conversation.
Lions nominated Tom, so I'm gonna go with that as best farmer. Sorry, and then I'm gonna put Maticus Rex as.
Lions, I mean, and to answer Platt, Lions' best skill actually is objective damage. Lions' objective damage is stupid high.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, Lions is the objective player on that team, not the farmer. And I'm not saying Lions is a bad farmer. Lions is a fantastic farmer, but his value to the team is just cranking damage like there's no tomorrow.
Interesting. Yeah, sorry, I was just reading back some of the chat there. Have we gotten all of Tempest? Did we say Value? We put Valiant and PK. We got Tom. Did we get Maticus? Did I put Maticus on here? Hold on. Yes, I did. I put him in the gold, or the A tier. Valiant, Tom. He's the only one. Wow, Matt got A tier. Yeah, because Ek got the Shazam, Lions got the Distracier, Soda's in the gnarly one. Tom got the farmer, and then Valiant got that one. Yeah, so basically another, like, starting S-tier team. But, I mean, that's what we saw this season. I mean, It's interesting
Yeah,
that we
I mean,
didn't
there's-
see Baywatch as well. They were pretty represented. We saw Sitka, we saw Sitka, Disco, and Fenkar, and Doc. So I mean, yeah, Baywatch as well pretty represented it in here. Just not with the agricultural award, maybe because they spread their farm across so many different players. Maybe I don't know. What are your
I
thoughts?
think it's also availability, right?
Mhm.
Baywatch's issue is availability. They just, it was a tough season for them in terms of availability. They can only play at certain times, kind of deal. And definitely Tempest and HUTT had fantastic seasons.
Mhm.
Were always available, and they were never turned off. I think that was the most important thing that people forget. That it's one thing to be very skilled, but to never be turned off is an important factor. And both HUTT and Tempest were never turned off. Every game they played was just at another level which is hard to keep up with.
So now that we've gone through everyone, we need to just do.
I think I need to make one correction.
Yeah, that's what we need to
Right.
do now. Is just gonna go in, and then I'm gonna do some final votes to try to determine. I'm gonna go through here. Let's try to get everything set. We'll start looking at the C tier. Okay, what was your correction that you stumped out at?
I think we need to move MJ up to B tier, because if I don't move MJ up to B tier, in terms of her work, she'll never talk to me again.
Okay.
Didn't
we put her in B
We should
tier
move up
actually
to
already?
B tier.
Because I don't see her here. Oh no,
She's in
there
C
she is.
tier?
I called her Padme, so I'll put her. I'll put
Yeah,
her
I
up into B tier. Just so
All
she'll
right,
talk to
she
you.
can
I
talk
guess.
to me again. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, I know.
That's
I
all
know
it
the
takes. You
changes.
just if anyone wants to move up a tier, just say that they won't talk to Rebel anymore, and then we'll fix that. For a simple solution, right? Thanks for all the follows too. Anyone, hey, if you haven't followed me yet, I would appreciate it. Do go ahead and follow that time bomb. Okay, let's look at the list here. So others, let's take a look at C tier here. Anyone jumping up who should be in the B tier?
No, our B tier is pretty hefty too.
Yeah, B. So, but that's been pretty tough too.
Yeah, I mean the way we're doing it, I feel like it was more of if you're the best S tier, if you're really close to the best A tier,
Yeah, which is
the rest kind of get pulled into B tier, which is fine.
Yo, I mean, that's kind of what I think it is, though, because it is those few players who make the difference, and that's why I think our list is kind of like skewed towards those Tempest type players. Baywatch. Why am I spacing on HUTT? Those are the best players in the game, and why they were, points wise, win wise, game wise, ahead of everyone else by a third at least, if not a half.
Yeah.
Looking here, okay. I mean, I'm not seeing. No one's really jumping up at me right away that they should move up, but maybe we've got to look at the. I think A tier. There could be someone else who could make it into S tier for the flex. I feel like flex and objective we're missing a player. That's what we need. We need to get 5 for each category. I think we need one more flex and one more objective player. So let's look at our S tier. If Dynasty gets A tier, then I want a reevaluation of my placement medic. Okay. Well, what was our thinking for Dynasty getting A tier? Because of his numbers, right? In that season, even though it was open. Luma should be there. Where should Luma be in? In the flex spot, Chili? That's a pretty good case for Luma being there.
Luma would be OBJ, wouldn't he?
I think he kind of played both. That's the thing. Luma's gotten best farm right now.
Okay, so he's on the.
I mean, that's the
list.
thing
We're
too.
good.
His objective play on both. That's like the kind of thing we did say the Destracier award could go to a flex or bomber player. Yeah, if Luma is S for farmer, should he be S for objective? I guess is the question. Oh, Brandon. Damn, Brandon is another really strong player for Baywatch.
I would say if he, I'm gonna. This is definitely part of me trying to make sure that I might be being overly conservative, but if Brandon played more games, I would definitely put him up there.
Yeah, I mean, he played 7 games, 65k average damage, 32 average AI.
Yeah.
I mean, he deserves to be the AI, I would say. Farmer, yeah. I think he's one of the best farmers in the game, so I think you could put him there.
Let's put him there. Love you, Brandon.
Yes. Let me look at other A tier for flex or objective damage. Chili, I'm starting to wonder about objective damage. He's got a case for it, right?
He's already in the farm S tier, correct?
That's true. That's true.
I mean, he's already an egotistical.
I
I don't want to make him feel too good about himself
don't
here.
know. Let's see. Does the numbers back it up? That's the question. 64K, 16 games. Who else is a bomber ahead of him? Brandon. He's played 7 games. Interesting. Lions. I mean, seems like he's one of the top bombers, to be honest. Fencar. Yeah, I feel like he gets a shot in that. I feel like that's a fair call. Given I mean, he's showing the numbers there. He's one of the top bombers and played the most games basically with Lions in that list. So I'm putting him on that one. I'm gonna go for it. Still looking for one more flex player. Lemming had a lot of PKs. I don't know. Maybe I'm too much of a homer with that suggestion. Maybe I should move Big Brain. Oh no, Big Brain. That's Big Brain, not Bird Brain. My bad. Cyfast, Coco. Would anyone from Cab Reigns there? Any other flex? Solid flex deserving Wasabi, Bronco, JP? Could we put JP in that list? I don't know.
I'd be okay with JP in there.
Yeah, I think that makes sense too. We had him in the Shazam list, actually. I think we already. Maybe I'm mistaken. He's in there. Yeah, actually, he is in the Shazam list. So JP, we've already got there. I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe that's the S tier. These are the primo of the primo.
If we got good names up here.
Knight, small violin for those of us that use standard, so can't be a good flex. Yeah, sorry, Knight. I feel like if anyone gets it, you still could pretty much for the flex award. I don't know. That's the toughest one to put in there almost. Bencar, is there anyone else for the OBJ in the chat? Does anyone have any nominations they want to make for any of these awards? Wasabi, interesting. Good point. What do you guys think about Wasabi? What are his numbers like? He was an open all season.
How many games did he play?
I'm just trying to look.
Because talent-wise, yes, he's up there.
Yeah, exactly.
He's terrifying.
Yeah, he's one of those people who just never wanted to play comp, but if he did, he could easily be on the team and one of those top level players. He played 7 games, 2.71 average kills, 33 average cap damage.
Also, half of the time he was trying to oop.
Yeah. So there were. Yeah, it's hard to really look at his numbers. It's more of a like. Kano saying that PK should be the Avenger 1. I actually did have that as an idea at one point as the award.
I think we're good with a list here. I don't think anybody thinks Wasabi is top of this list. It's just like we don't.
Yeah, it's tough to really put him up there. I wonder, is there any bombers? I want to take a double look for a bomber with objective damage. Did we have Brandon in that list? I think we had him just in farm. Who is that another top? We should just look at the player stats in Elite. Just double check to see that, actually. Player cap sip damage a game in Elite. Bencar, Orion, Disco Dino, Senior Machete, 6 games, 75k. Deadweight, 73k in 9 games. Pretty solid damage there. Then Lions, Expired, Speed of Light, Bird Brain, Megadeth, Brandon. I mean, Sinric, gotta respect his capture damage at 65k too. Wow. 7 games. Oh, wow. Could almost put him in that range too. And then Chili, 65. Luma with 64. No Bear, only 3 games with 64. Jashikwa, Ralph, Valiant, Quinn, 61. See, that's another thing. Quinn, I would add to the farm list, to be honest. Did I not put her there? Yeah. I did put Quinn on the farm list. That's right. Okay, so that's good. I think that's pretty much it. Expired. Valiant expressing his love for Rediac, just reading that. I'm gonna double check. I think I had another list that someone sent me I wanted to just review here before we go forward. Do you guys need to go? Because I can just do you guys don't need to stay on any longer if you don't want to. I can do that.
I think I'm gonna have to bail here and Rebel went. But thanks for having me, Timo. This was a lot of fun.
This was amazing. Thank you for staying with me for so long. Sorry we went way longer than we planned. I really appreciate the fame, man.
All right, thanks, Time Bomb. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, can't see the farm list. Sorry, let me go back to the farm list. Should be able to see it here now. Okay, there it's showing. No, rest in peace. Yeah, Favor them had to go now. It's just me and you guys now. Okay, so I think we're gonna do a couple polls now here to figure it out. To get the final votes in here. We'll start. It's tough to say. I'm gonna give a couple of options on what I think the top should be. From based on these to the and you guys. Actually, I guess I could just include all of them. Who's winning these awards? That's what we're gonna decide right now, Hobbs. We're gonna do a vote, and I'm gonna start doing them. So everybody. I think Zugzug, I don't think you're wrong. I think the numbers kind of back it up too. So okay, we're gonna do these votes in a minute here. I'm just setting up this poll right now. Okay, so the first one we're gonna do, I think we've settled on all of these tier lists, all these nominations and everything. So the first thing we're gonna do is put up a poll here. Okay, I'm making it, sorry. Kyle Trite for PK. Oh my god. Kyle Trite, add it to the list, Nathan. I should put Kyle Trite on everyone, I guess. Okay, manage poll. Okay, question. Jester Award. You got Sitka, Rain, Dalek, Knight, Birdbrain, and Valian. You have got 2 minutes to vote. Oh god, I fucked it up. Okay, I'm gonna end poll, delete poll. Okay, we're doing a new poll. Mess it up. Classic time bomb. Night, Rain. Oh, ha! You know why? Because there's only 5 options. I can't do 6. I did too many. Damn, who do I cut now? Birdbrain was the one I think people questioned, so unfortunately, Birdbrain is gonna go. Man, I don't even know now. It seems unfair because I'm putting Dalek in front of Birdbrain. Boy. I better turn off this music for a second. Okay, there's probably annoying with me talking over the music. So, I have to remove Birdbrain from this list, I guess, because I had to make an executive decision. And I think there was some debate if he should be or not. Although, Nathan, there was also the same question. Now I feel like a homer doing this way. Oh my god, this is so rigged. 2 finals and suggest 1 for each? Okay. I mean, that makes it way harder. I should have just done 5 options max. That would have just made it the easiest. Because I'm going to have the same issue over here with 1, 2, 3, 6. Who do I drop? I think Brandon would be the drop on farm. And then I think we're going to go... Well, actually, why don't we just actually pick Dalek or Birdbrain? Who do you guys want in that 5th spot? Then we'll decide that way. All right, starting that poll now. This isn't for the actual Jester Award. This is... Yeah, I just did a poll to decide. I felt like that was the easiest way. We're going to see. again into a keg stack. Reordered and playing this game since day one, but not a single minute have I ever had fun. Solo queue timeout, and no, I'm not done. Search again into a keg stack and don't run. Didn't even PK and they got no cares. They break locks like nothing and I can just stare. Maybe I'm not good cause this game isn't rare, but I thought, nah, forget it, it's matchmaking that's unfair. Yeah, well, coin flip to decide the coin flip, but at least everybody's got all their rosters here for it? No. Because I play it every day. Telling me consoles that they can't compete just because they ain't got the macros to hit with their feet. The only way to beat me must be if you cheat. Report you to EA, even though your PlayStation just like me. Alright, so Nathan won the poll. So now we're gonna do the final one for the Jester Award. All right, the Jester Award official vote is now open. Hey, thanks for the follow. Ooh. Okay, and Knight wins the poll. So Knight wins the vote at 69%. Now we're gonna do the Shazam Award. Disco, JP, Ralph, and Ekpired. Here we go. Gonna put this one up for another 2 minutes. Oh, it should do a speech. Damn, you want to come in? Yeah, you're coming in, buddy. I'll drag you in. Ooh. Oh yeah, I forgot that he retired. When did I forgot? I retired at one point. When did that happen? It's like a minute. Ooh, something's pretty tight. Pretty tight. A lot of action here. Right. This is Knight here. I just want to say, you're a Y-wing. I will find you. If you use an ICT, I will get you. What was that? What do you guys think of that knight? High level knight? Perfect knight? 1 season left of the EU, guys. It's like he's here, right? What a great night. Knight and lions kind of sound the same to me. I don't know why. Oh! Shazam Award goes to Disco. Who's gonna win that one? Nice job, Disco, with pretty closer. Disco with 47%. Winning the vote here. All right. Now we're gonna go with the Destracier Award. Should have put the description in all of these, I guess. Okay, so we got Benkar, Jish, probably spelled that wrong, Lions. I put Chili twice. Wow. Okay. So good I put them twice. And there we go. 2 minutes. All right. Starting the new poll. Lions is just a soundboard. I had to beg Lions to put my hey on there. Chili voting for putting his vote behind Lions. One is Do you guys see the results of them up at the top there? I don't even remember how these work, or do you just know when I tell you? Ooh, this one's pretty tight. Oh, no, someone's pulling ahead. Yeah, what's the deal with that? Right ox goal? What does that mean? What if someone binds their right ox to the spot that you fire your left ox from? Oh, you see it. Okay, you see it going. Okay, exciting. Ooh, Lions and Fenkar on the same team. That would be a dirty combo. Nathan, probably, man. If you were just stuck in that TIE bomber when we tried to put you in it. Think about how amazing that you would be at it. But no, you had to go oh, I'm a PK player. Put me in the defender. Okay, and Lions wins this one. Here we go. Lions with 61% taking that one. And then we're moving on to support. Gnarliest award. Support. Got Hobbs. What's up, Doc? Ham, Boca, E, Soda on the list for this one. Classic Hobbs, voting for Hobbs. Or Hibbs, either way. Ooh, tight race here. Thanks everybody for sticking around for this whole thing. Yeah, give me a follow or all that stuff if you don't follow the channel. Give me a sub if you're feeling real fun. If you really you're really down to clown. Throw a sub my way. Got a couple of those this game today. That was really nice. Shout out to, is it Von Karajan? Was it Von Karajan who gave me a thing? Yeah, Von Karajan, subscribing for 3 months. Huge. And Ham's gonna win that one with 44%, pretty close. Honestly, yeah, my pick was Foga. I thought he might have deserved it, to be honest, because, you know, two leagues leading to both. I am impressed by it. And then the last one here, the Agriculture Award. Man of Culture. So we've got Not Tom, Zug, Luma, Rod, and Quinn on the list here for our last poll of the day here. Thank you everybody sticking this out. We've been going so long. because Zug, there is other I mean, I honestly think you should get it, but you know, just because it's a vote doesn't mean that they won it. I mean, I could still say it's someone else. Who knows? This is just the vote portion of it. Maybe I'm not deciding the winner. Maybe I'm just deciding the voted winner this way. But yeah, you should really get it. I think the numbers don't necessarily always sway that way when someone has like really high numbers. But I think in this case, yours are so ridiculously high. It seems ridiculous that yeah, you were obviously the best farmer to me. Oh well, not turning out that way. It's quite a battle actually for best farmer here. A mix of votes. But yeah, this is just the vote portion of it from the people in the stream giving their say. I wouldn't say you overall won it yet, right? Like, it's still question marks between these names, right? Here, actually, I'm not showing that. So question marks between the final winners. These are just the input portion of it. Wow. Yeah, the vote is not looking good for Zug right now, though, surprisingly. Come on, vote for Zug. Wow, we got a tie between Not Tom and Quinn here at 32%. Hey, I got another follow there, much appreciated. Excalibur, thank you for following me. So that means, okay, so yeah, Not Tom and Quinn, 32%. So, let's take a look now, the finals. Okay, so the votes. So from the vote, we got Knight with 69%. Oh, actually, I'm gonna pause the music. Okay, Knight gets the Jester Reward vote for 69%. Disco gets the Shazam with 47. Lions gets the Distracier with 61. Ham gets the vote for support at 44. And Not Tom and Quinn tie. Leaf, you just realized what the music was and suddenly disturbed. Why? B-Wing is the best wing, Leaf. You should deal this. That's definitely how we're going to end this stream off. So the only change I'm going to say is, okay, I'm going to agree. Jester, oh, whoops, messed that up. Jester Award officially goes to Knight, I think, in both. Shazam, I'm going to agree with that one. Goes to Disco. The Distracier Award, yeah, I agree. That goes to Lions. The Gnarliest Award, yeah, I agree. That goes to Ham. The only one that I'm actually going to change is that I think I'm overruling the vote. It was tied, and I just think they're wrong. So I'm giving it to Zug Zug. Zug Zug is the only time I'm disagreeing with the vote. I don't know if the panel would agree with me or not on that one, but I am overriding them on that front. So, yeah, now we've gone through the list. We figured out the top. This is the S tier right here of everybody. TB, it wasn't close. It wasn't close. No, it wasn't close, but I overrode that one. Zug Zug got it. It wasn't close at all, but they were tied at 32, so they split the vote, and then I said Zug Zug gets it. So that's the only time I've disagreed with anyone. First chat, Zug Zug, give it a rig. Give it a rig. Give it a sub. Zug Zug, give it a sub. There you go. Show them how rigged it is. I deserve the sub. Everybody, give me subs. 45 of you. Give me subs. You guys are great. Seriously, thank you so much for checking out this stream. Let's kick our celebration song back in again.
Boom, boom.